מזמור לעץ החיים, הלל האלים, טוב להודות לאשרה, ולזמר משמך אשת עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, סגולותייך לנגן בלילות, עלי בינו, עלי נווה, עלי בשר ונקבי חליל.
Oh, interesting. But if you see, here's the thing: you could rearrange bakar to get kever, but you could also just change the and he's going to mention this. I mean, I noticed this immediately when I realized, oh wait, he's going to find out what else you can make with this word. And yeah, at the very bottom, this dot over the bet, that makes the bet, or any letter that it's over, it becomes a ol. So bol, then these three dots makes the ka, ke, boke, and then there's a resh, so boker, and that's the morning. So it's interesting, like the connection between the cattle and the morning. I don't know how he's going to get there, but
I'm not hearing sound, Ariel.
Wait, you haven't been hearing it this whole time?
Hearing sound, Ariel. Nope. And it's not coming through on YouTube.
How come you didn't say anything until just now?
Because I didn't notice until just now.
What do you mean? It was just silent?
Yeah, but sometimes on StreamYard, my headset doesn't pick up the sound, so I didn't realize.
Shoot. 1 second. Let me check for myself. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice. Yeah, I mean, because if you can't hear it, then nobody else can either. So.
Yeah, no, some of the times the videos will kick in and out, and I'll have to go over to YouTube and watch. But yeah, I went over, and it's like, nope, no sound there either.
Yeah. Well, that's embarrassing. Let's see if this works. Can you hear now?
Nope.
What on earth?
Nope.
What about now? On earth?
Still nothing.
Okay, what about now?
Bakar goes into the kever.
We have a winner.
Shoot.
This form of drawing near. The word mikem means from yourself, from within. The Torah mentioned here animals that are permitted for korbanot in the singular, not in the plural. Why is that? If true sacrifice is internal, as the Torah taught, why does it mention behemah, bakar, son? Why? Each of these animals are a microcosm of man. What do I mean that they're a microcosm of man?
Hey, welcome, Nathan. How are you?
Many blessings, Ariel. How are you? I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. And is that Graham? I couldn't quite read because the screen's tiny.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
Graham.
Awesome. Lovely. Lovely to meet you, Graham.
Nice to meet you too, Nathan.
Thank you. Many blessings to you both.
And yeah. Nathan, you have a really good channel too. I'll definitely give you a shout out.
Cheers. I was going to say you can share this on the page if you want as well.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, if anyone hasn't heard of your channel yet, definitely check it out. Let's see. And now, of course, I cannot find the other video that were. Oh, here it was. Yeah. So we'll get started with the Torah reading in a moment.
Animals that the Torah deems suitable, kasher, fit for offering, reflect the personality traits that are also within man. Let me explain. Bakar, right? Bakar, we translate as cattle. However, the word bakar is a permutation of the word kever. Kever literally means grave, and also boker, which means morning. Boker tov, boker or. So what's the correlation between these permutations in relation to being, let's say, a korban chai, a living sacrifice? Well, when a person learns to die to self, nullification, right? Figuratively speaking, to their animal desire, the yetzer hara, they put that ego into the kever, the grave. The bakar goes into the kever. The correlation between kever and boker teaches us that when we learn to die to the ego, there is a resurrection, okay? A tachiyah of the soul that corresponds to morning, boker, right? And so from the kever, we experience a new morning per se. And while time doesn't permit me here, okay, with the study, once again, the nature of the animals chosen for the korbanot are not just random. Rather, these animals possess distinct features that are found in the animalistic drives of man, specifically his personality trait. And that's a topic within itself. So from shechita, or through shechita, the existence of ben habakar is nullified, or it becomes what the Torah calls an olah. And olah literally is elevation. Other translations will say a burnt.
What's interesting is that word shechita doesn't exclusively refer to sacrifice, or at least to this idea of like killing for sacrifice, because it's also used like when someone basically is like, what's the term? Like they're not literally dead, but they're dead after a night of drinking, and they have to be revived by another rabbi. Again, not to say that they were literally resurrected. It's just that they had to be roused from their slumber. But this idea of was it of shechita, or like of slaying. It can be in this figurative sense where you're like, it's basically the idea of ego death, for lack of a better term. But it also kind of raises the question, because typically people, so this story was in the context of Purim, that because you're supposed to drink adla lo yada, like until you're not able to distinguish or know the difference between blessed be Mordechai and cursed be Haman. And so it's interesting because typically people drink in order to connect to that, but drinking isn't typically something that's going to cause an ego death, which, just this idea of like, because of this not being able to tell a difference, he ended up being like shechita, or like he ended up being, I don't know what the term was, basically shechted, but like not literally killed, which I don't know. It's really interesting. There's a lot there, but it's probably a bit too deep for right now. But just this idea that there's multiple ways of reading this. So it's also the kind of the idea that like prayer replaces sacrifice, but it is still a kind of sacrifice, whether it's a sacrifice of time or resources or something else.
Offering, because it's a part of the offering that nobody partook of. The individual who offered it, the Cohen who oversaw the procedure, nobody received any benefit from it. In fact, in a way, a person who did olah was losing out, because unlike, let's say, a shelamim or korbanot, Thanksgiving offering, nobody can receive benefit from it. An elevation offering is like a burnt; it's completely consumed. Nobody receives any benefit. But olah is very deep thought, because the root of olah is from the root word Allah, which means ascension, like aliyah. Okay, one who ascends. And so when we nullify our animal desire, our soul experiences an ascension. There's an expansion of our consciousness. And due to the sublime concept, Jewish law teaches that when shechita is performed, it has to be done with kavanah. There has to be done with intention. The shochet, the individual involved in the slaughtering, must direct his mind to the korban standing before Hashem. If shechita is performed with one's mind on something else, well, then guess what? Let's say they take the korban olah and they're going to slaughter it like it's a korban chatat or a korban todah. Chazal says that korban that's done that way is puzzle. It's invalid. We see here Masechet Zevachim 47a. From where in Scripture is it known that the unwitting slaughtering of a korban is invalid? It is known from that which is stated here in Leviticus 1:5, that he shall v'shachat et ben habachar, slaughter the ben habachar lifnei Adonai, before Hashem. This teaches that the korban is not valid unless the slaughtering is performed for the sake, l'shem ben bachar, for the sake of a young bull. So because the expression lifnei Hashem is there, that means shaviti Adonai l'negdi tamid, as it says in Psalm 16, I place Hashem before me always. That the consciousness of the person doing the shechita process must have this in mind. And this is also why, at a deeper level, the kohanim, when they perform the whole avodah, they didn't need to be aroused with external stimuli, like the Levites who were on the dukin, the platform, before the public, worshiping Hashem in beautiful song and melody. The kohanim did everything in silence. There was a silence to their avodah, and therefore their attentions, their thoughts had energy to affect what would happen between the upper and lower realms. This is very deep. Going back here to Chazal, they comment on this further, and it's over here.
Amar, so Chazal is chachamim, or chachamim, which means like, or chachmeinu rather. So chachamim is sages, chachmeinu is our sages, and then this. So that's the cha. Then you have the zal, which is zichron levracha, which means may their memory be for blessing, or for a blessing. And so together you get chazal, chachmeinu, zichron levracha, our blessed our sages of blessed memory, basically. So it's something that I have to admit, I kind of like contextually, I knew what it meant, but I never actually literally knew what it meant until I kind of looked it up. And then the moment I saw what it was an acronym for, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it fit with what I thought. But it's one of those things where there's a lot of things where unless you look it up, you never really know. Well, I guess you don't actually know until you look it up. You just can suspect.
That derivation was already in our hands. But from where do we learn that the kavanah requirement is essential? And without its fulfillment, the korban is invalid. He said, well, it's known from that which is stated in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 5. You shall slaughter it according to your will, which is understood as meaning that you shall slaughter with awareness. Kavanah is determined only by the one who performs the avodah. Once shechita is performed, okay, the next process is the hakerava, is the process of drawing near. The hakerava process includes 2 steps. Okay, you have the kabbalah dam, the receiving of the blood, and then there is the holacha. Okay, the holacha is the walking, all right, in which the Kohen is going to transfer the blood that he received in a kli sharet, a holy vessel, one that was designed to receive the blood. As you see in this depiction here, it was a cup per se that had a transfer, the blood that he received, and a 𤤅𤤉�̓𐤀, a holy vessel, one that was designed to receive the blood. As you see in this depiction here, it was a cup per se that had a pointed bottom, okay, a cylinder-based object, and it was designed in this way so the blood would not congeal. So when the Kohen would transport the blood to the Mizbeach, as we'll see, not all korbanot were treated the same, and I talked about this in previous classes, that some of the blood of a different korbanot would be placed at different parts of the Mizbeach or the altar. So here, when the Kohen receives the blood, kabbalat adam, he would then transfer, okay, the blood, once again, in 𤤅𤤉𤓃, a holy vessel, and so he would perform the olah.
I'm sorry, but that is a poor translation. So, I mean, it's entirely possible I'm mixing up what he's saying, but from what it sounds like he's saying 𝐤�𤤉𤓃, and sharet, it means like ministering or serving. So 𝐤�𤤉𝓃 would be like serving vessels, but I think in this context it would probably be more like ministering vessels, or the vessels used for like the priesthood, because the word lechahen is to minister to, but it's also the same root of priest. So that kind of suggests this idea that minister and priest still used like interchangeably even today. So it shouldn't be that, that's strange. But the idea that that the vessels were holy vessels, I mean, yeah, they're holy vessels because they're in the temple. But to say that that's what it means, it's a shoddy translation, and I have to throw a red flag on that, just because it's not correct. I mean, it's not false, but it's not it's not false technically from what it is, but linguistically and literally it's not correct. It's a mistranslation. What he said. So just wanted to give you all the context for that.
Walking, bringing the blood to the altar. Now, what's interesting here is that the 𤤅𤤉𝓃, it sanctifies all of its contents and includes them within a sphere of the sanctuary. What do I mean? Well,
so it's also interesting because, and I think you, Nathan, you'll probably have, I mean, I have no pressure, but you might have some thoughts on this just because kind of where you're coming from. But it's almost like, if this idea of like the shechting, which, I mean, technically shechting is a Yiddish word, but basically like it's just combining like, I mean, the funny thing is it's Yiddish, but like the way you would, if you were to take that English or that Hebrew word and put it into English, it would be something like shochading. So shochading, shechting, it's so close, and shechting is easier to say. Basically, with shechting or ritual slaughter, if that can be read in this dual manner, and this idea that you can, slaughter yourself, and again, not physically but spiritually, it's this, idea of ego. Yeah, exactly. That that on that symbolic level, what would the blood be? Because the blood is like the lifeblood. It's what allows you to be alive. So in that spiritual sense, it's like
a holy liquid, in a sense, the liquid of life, the essence of life. Also be symbolic with the virtue of water as well. So you got the opposites in balance, basically, I'll say as well. Also the self-sacrifice as well of self. So taking on the blood to purify yourself, basically, as they seen blood would have been even blood of the gods in older ancient religions as well.
Definitely. Like it definitely echoes, let me see if I can pull it up, but the story of, let's see, do I have it pulled up here? I should somewhere. However,
splashing the blood on you too was very common with the animal sacrifices as well. So it was like you were taking on their life force. It was like a rebirth of self. But yeah, old customs. God knows how long that one's been taking place for.
Yeah, what jumped to my mind there was Odin hanging on the tree and creating the runes, with that being his self-sacrifice.
Cool to see some Norse mythology.
Okay, so this, let's see. Okay, so this is, I just want to pull this up here. Okay, perfect. So Psalms 116:15. Okay, so this is going to take a while to load, it seems like. Okay, Psalms 115:16. Oh, you're pulling it up too? Awesome.
Yeah, bro. I bought the Bible with me just in case.
Perfect. Okay,
1:15, 16, did you say? Or
yeah, but let's just start from the beginning. So let's see, 1:15. Also, there's an interesting tradition in like more mystical Judaism that basically, so say, however old you are, you take that number, and then on like Shabbat, you try to read the psalm that corresponds with the year of life that you're in. But anyway, so here, let's see. So I'm just going to read the English until we get to the part that it's referencing, and then I'll read that in Hebrew. So, and then this, let's see, translations. Does it have the 𐤅𐤉𤒃 one? Because that's a really good one. Yeah, here, 𐤅𐤉� select. All right. Let's see. I'm going to read the first line in Hebrew to see if it's correct. Okay. Betzed Yisrael miMitzrayim, when Israel went out from Egypt, Beit Yaakov me'am le'oz. The house of Jacob, me'am le'oz was like from a nation for strength. Wait, Loez. From a nation. Wait, what? The house of Jacob. The house of Jacob. From a nation le'oz, like a indistinct or unintelligible people. So this understands it. Okay, so strange tongue. It's a fairly good translation. So I'm just like, keep in mind, a lot of this is poetic, so some of it's not literal, but I trust this translation well enough because I've been using it for. Given when I read the Torah, I translate it for myself, but it is nice to like I know that this is one of the ones I can rely on more than other translations if I need to rely on a translation.
That's good to know.
Well, but that's the thing. I'm actually technically never relying on the translation. It's just a good support. Anyway, so Judah was. And then this is implied, taken by the Lord as his Holy One. So I'm just going to read what it's literally. Judah was his holy. Holy crap. Notice how different this makes it. So I'm going to read this in Hebrew too. Hayta Yehuda, Judah was likadsho, was for his holiness, or was for his Holy One. Wait, could show his holy was for his Holy One, for his heroic role at the Red Sea, Israel. So interesting. So here you basically have this idea of Yehuda as his Kodesh, as his Holy One, and then Israel, Mam Shlotav, his ruler or his dominion. So you definitely have this, it's a paralleling of the two. But what's interesting here is that it could just, like, at least how this translates it, which I think is the best one. I would have probably missed this had I just translated on my own. But yeah, Judah was his Holy One. So, this might seem insignificant, but we'll continue and then we'll see. The sea beheld and it fled. The Jordan was turned backwards. Now it's interesting. Hayam Ra'ah, the sea saw. Now also notice this. Is this just the sea, or is this saying sea? I mean, technically, no. If it was sea, it would be Yam. It wouldn't be Hayam. So this is referring to the sea. It's not a proper noun here. So the sea saw. But even then, there are echoes of it, because how can a sea see? Which it's also kind of funny because of the fact that in English, see, it sounds the same, but different words spelled differently. Yanos, fled, nous. The sea saw and fled. Hayarden. Now, what's interesting, the root of Yarden is Yared, which means to descend. Now, what this is implying is, so the Yisov turned around, the Jordan, or literally the descender, turned to ascend or to go backwards. So the backwards of descending is ascending. So it's basically implying that not only did it, not only did the flow turn around, it's essentially the very nature of the river, which is that it goes down, was flipped on its head. But yeah, Heharim Rakdu, the hills or the mountains, they danced. Ke'elim, like rams. Givaot, the hills. Kibnei Tza'on, like the children of the flock. Malachahayam. Oh, this is wild. Malachahayam, what is it for you, the sea? This is weird, because here I almost feel like this translation is kind of echoing some of these older traditions a bit more better, because it's not I guess in some ways, because how can you address the sea? It's like, oh, the sea. But no, if you're referring to it, you would just say, oh, sea. But I guess I just need to look more into see if yam is ever referred to with ha, with the hey before. But anyway, so what is it for you, the sea? Or what is it for you, O sea? That Tanus, that you flee, Hayarden, and the Jordan, Tisov, that you turn le'achor, like turn away. Heharim Tirtu, that the mountains dance like Elim, like rams, and that the hills are like the children of the flock. Milifne Ado. Holy crap! Holy crap! Milifne Adon. I don't think I've ever seen such a direct. This is huge. Because, so sorry, if it's not clear, so Adon was a Phoenician god, and while it is used to refer to Yahweh in certain contexts, what's significant here is it's not saying Adoni, it's not my Adon, it's saying Adon. This is a proper name.
I've sort of figured about with a bit of mixture of Yahweh as well and other gods, because of the sea being mentioned, as there were a lot of them were sea gods and storm gods and weather gods. So
yeah, so I mean, this is huge. I'm glad we ended up looking into this. It's it's like feel led by the Spirit. So what's interesting is it's all, so notice here. So like he said, you have the sea, and here, this is, oh my God, the fleeing serpent. This is a direct parallel from the Baal cycle. So basically, here you have this battle between earth and sea. Now here the mountains are associated with earth. So the Lord, here you see Adon is, what's this? Milifne Adon Huli Aretz, like from before, or from to the face of, or from to the presence, literally before. Adon Huli Aretz, the Huli, the twisting or the circling of the earth. Hul, circle, but it can also mean writhe, world dance. I knew that. Apparently there's another context. To dance, to be made, to be brought forth. So the bringer forth of the earth. Huli Aretz. And this actually could have to do with this idea of birthing the earth, because when you're birthing, there's writhing, there's twisting, there's, I don't know if you could say whirling about, but definitely waiting anxiously, writhing in travail with bearing, bringing forth. It's literally echoing this idea of birth pains, or like the writhing, and this is used to refer to the birth of wisdom in Proverbs, I think. That before the foundations of the earth were set, I was there, talking about how like I was born before, but the word born, it's actually chul, this idea of like swirling forth from the waters of the deep. So anyway, so the founder of the earth, Milifne, from before, or no, from before. Yeah, like from before. Interesting. From before Adon. Holy crap. So I wonder if there's a context that this could actually be understood that from before Adon founded the earth rather than from before, because the thing is from before could be like from in front of. So that's
Adon a variation of L? Sorry to cut you off, brother.
Yep.
Like a variation of the Phoenician L, yeah?
So you're asking if Adon is?
Yeah, it's like a variation of L, like.
No. In fact,
No, it's not.
It's much more closely connected to the motif of the dying and rising God, something that El does not do. So it's more connected with the tradition of the Messiah, and then especially it gets like more of the divine elements of it get re-echoed within the figure of Jesus, which I've kind of come to a conclusion that Jesus wasn't he wasn't. There's some people who I don't think they're even trying to do it to disreform Judaism. I think they're doing it to try to be like, oh look, see, like there's a context, but like it inevitably gets used to disreform Judaism. For context, I'm also not Reform Jewish. It's like I'm much more religious than that, but I'm also like not Orthodox. It's an interesting mix. But the point that I'm trying to bring forth is that what is it? Oh yeah, that Jesus was most likely. And see, this thing, I don't think that he was not Jewish or that he was not following Jewish tradition, but I also think that he wasn't a monotheist like people would understand. Given I don't think any of the Israelites were monotheists the way people understand monotheism today. I personally don't think that it actually was a thing before Islam, because it's really like I'm trying to think. You have elements of iconoclasm, but there's periods of it, but it ends up getting done away with. Judaism really never becomes monotheistic until Islam, as a result of a necessity to adhere to the laws set forth that they obey as dhimmis and people of the book. And so it's almost like this external pressure forces them to do away with any other, given that's not to say I don't think they worshipped primarily or only one God, but this idea that there's only one God in existence, I don't think that exists in Judaism. It straight up doesn't exist in Judaism, because there's this acknowledgement of other people's gods as legitimate, but that they're under the power of God, that everything they're able to do is through God. So it's almost like it's essentially a type of, I think it would be called modalism. Would it be?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even a classified part of dualism, even though it's a little bit different. Some people might put it in that category. Labels.
Definitely. Do y'all have any other thoughts before we go on? Wait, what? Oh, we this is strange. Oh, I accidentally read the one before, but I'm glad we did. But yeah.
I did have a couple thoughts there. Yeah. One is I think ball would be the better comparison than L, and a lot of people tend to conflate those two, understandably. The second point will come back to me. Go ahead.
All right. Here, give me 1 second. We'll go right back to this. I just wanted to respond to a message real quick, and we'll continue with this. Maybe some other thoughts will come.
Once the blood is received in this key, this vessel, it's elevated. The olah, the conveying of the blood into the tactile proximity of the altar, is a physical representation of the concept of drawing near to God. The Torah says the individual qualified to perform this avodah must be bnei Aharon ha-kohanim, must be of the sons of Aaron, the kohanim. Now this is interesting, but why does the Torah need to tell us that the sons of Aaron are kohanim? Isn't that a given? Who else are the kohanim, if not the sons of Aaron? Well, according to Chazal, the term bnei Aharon, it denotes an unblemished lineage that is spiritually whole. So in other words, it's not just describing genetics of certain individuals who are direct descendants of Aaron. It's also describing their spiritual character. We see here in Parsha 13:8. It says, "Bnei Aharon ha-kohanim," that what that means is that the avodah receiving the blood should be performed by a qualified Kohen, clothed in his priestly service vestments. I left an asterisk mark there because even the English translation of the Gemara here is not doing justice to what it says in the Hebrew, right? It doesn't say priestly service vestments. No, it says ul-chali sharet. In other words, Chazal is calling the big kahuna, the garments that the priests wore, a kli sharet, very similar to the vessel that was used to perform any of the avodah in the temple. That's very important, very interesting per se. Okay, these vestments, these garments, were called holy vessels, kli sharet. Once again, which is classified in the same category of other holy instruments that were used for the performance of the korbanot. Chazal continued commenting on this in Masechet Zevachim 13a. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva asked the question, for where do we know that the avodah kavalat adam should be done by a qualified kohen clothed in his kli sharet? It's stated in Numbers 19:33 over there that the Bnei Haron, they are called the anointed kohanim. Just as the verse refers to a qualified kohen clothed in his kli sharet, so here too the verse refers to a qualified kohen also clothed in his kli sharet, his holy vessel, right? Holy vessel. Once again, the term service vestments, or in Hebrew, kli sharet, is a reference to holy vessels used to perform the avodah of the korbanot. By identifying the garments of the kohanim as holy vessels, the Torah is teaching us that the garments of the kohanim that they wore transformed them into a special, unique vessel when performing avodat Hashem. And therefore, when the kohen clothed himself in these garments, the kohen did not appear as he was, right? As Aharon as Aaron, or Nadav as Nadav, etc., but as he should be according to the dictates of God's Torah. In other words, the garments allowed him to be perceived in his true spiritual essence, okay? Who he truly is, his etzem, his true essence. The garments, if you will, they brought to expression the character of the kahuna, or the priesthood. Now, what's interesting, I don't have it on the screen, but etymologically speaking, there is a connection in the Hebrew between clothing and character. There's a phonetic relationship between the Hebrew word beged and pakad. Pakad denotes investing in something when it's appropriate, with its appropriate attributes, something that contains a value that you're mindful of. The word beged, on the other hand, denotes not merely conveying, but clothing someone in a garment that gives him the appropriate appearance. So just as pakad denotes, if you will, not pakad like in fear, pakad, excuse me, okay, denotes investing into office, beged denotes the function of office. Now, when you think about this, the origins of clothing first appear in Parshat Bereshit, specifically when Hashem clothed Adam and Chava after their transgression. And it's in Genesis 3:21, in which it says that Hashem produced these clothing for them, katonet or. It's a garment of or. Sounds like light, alav vavresh, but it's ayin vavresh, skin. Because whatever dimension Adam and Chava existed in was a reality outside of this reality we existed in. Their transgression caused them to materialize in a lower vibrational frequency. And therefore they were katonet or vayal b'shem. They were clothed in these garments of skin. And so clothing is itself a reminder of man's moral calling. It is the first and most conspicuous indication of man's outer appearance, of his character. And so terms such as beged, lebush or lavage, and atah, these became expressions for a person's integration of certain characteristics or distinctive features, which to the eye of the beholder became that person's spiritual garment. In fact, such concepts are applied to Hashem throughout the Tanakh. What do I mean? Well, to better understand this, let's take a look at some verses. Psalm 93, verse 1, which we say on Friday, right before Shabbat, Adonai malach, Yehud lavesh, lavesh, these are words of clothing. Adonai oz hit azar, aftikon.
So, it's interesting. Okay, so I'm done responding to that message. I will continue now. But this idea of God clothing himself, how does God, it kind of goes to this idea, does God have a body? And also, it's interesting because really a lot of this school that of Maimonidean thought that ends up being the philosophical or rather the, how would you describe the Maimonidean school of thought, Graham? It's
well, the big thing he tried to do was adopt Aristotle to Judaism.
Yeah, Aristotelian. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Unfortunately, his version of Aristotle had some Plato cooked into it that he didn't realize. He was dealing with somebody who he thought was Aristotle, but it was somebody who actually wasn't. It was the commentator.
Oh, pseudo-Aristotle?
Yep.
That dang
interesting, bizarre facts.
Yeah. So, anyway, this what I was saying here is that milifnei Adon could either be from before Adon, as in from before the presence. So that's the way that it's going to typically be understood. So in that way, it would be from before the presence of Adon, the founder of the earth, from before the presence of Eloah, Yaakov, the God of Jacob. Now, what's interesting about this is that so So I mean, because it doesn't really work the second way. Milifnei Eloi Yaakov has to be like from before the presence. That's why this one before is going to get understood in that same way. But you could argue that they don't have to be the same. They could actually be contrasting rather than identical. But yeah, so here you have Adon, the founder of the world. Let's look at the commentary on that, because
I
that
think it added about the clothing of God as well. That could be like, say, putting on flesh in a sense that we are created in God's image as well. As a lot of ancient gods, they had the theory that he had a human form. Ancient Israelites were scared that God would step in their poo. That was common throughout other religions as well. You know, they would talk about God's penis, and they would have sex with their goddesses as well. So I would assume a part of us in a sense. But then they also got the garment of God being the soul and the light within us that shines and radiates towards others, etc. So I wasn't too silent.
So this has they respond, we quake and flee from before the Master, creator of the earth, from before the God of Jacob, who created everything and has the power to change the world as he desires it. Who turns the rock to a pool of water, the flint to a spring of water. Oh wow! And that connects to this idea when you entering the Pardes, the heavenly paradise or the Garden of Eden. That when you see the stones that look like water, don't say water, water. It must be connected to this idea of that he was supposed to speak to the water, speak to the rock, and it would become water, or have water come out of it.
Like blood out of a stone.
Well, in this case, water. But, right. So here, 115. Here, I'm just going to raise. Not unto us, O Lord. Here it's Adonai. Or Yahweh. So here it goes to Yahweh back from Adon. Do not, not for us. Oh, sorry, not for our sakes, or for our merits. Do we ask that you act not unto us, but to your name give honor, for your loving kindness, for your truth. Now it's interesting because the Shem could also be the consort of a god, so it could be referring to Asherah. Right, for why should the nations say, where now is their God? And this word Elohim, where are their gods? Literally. But our Ve'Eloheinu b'shamayim, but our God is b'shamayim, in the heavens. Kol asher chafetz asa, all that he desires, he does. Their images are silver and gold. The work of the hands of man. They have a mouth but do not speak. They have eyes but do not see. They have ears but do not hear. They have a nose but do not smell. Their hands are fashioned, but they do not feel. Their feet, but they do not walk. They make no sound with their throats. Like them, let their makers be, and all who trust in them. So it's saying all their makers and those who trust in them make their hands not feel, make their feet not walk, may their ears not hear, may their nose not smell, may their mouth not speak, and may their eyes not see. I mean, that is some dark shit if you really think about what it means. Though I suspect that, wait, hold on. Like them, let their kemohem, like them, yihiyu, like them will be, osehem, their makers. So the thing is, it's not actually saying like them, let their makers be. It could actually be, and their makers will be. Kemohem, like them will be their makers, and all those who trust in them. So it could just be understood as a critique, not actually as a curse. Because if you just read this, it would seem like a curse, right? Like them, let their makers be, right?
Well, it comes across to me as like a genealogy. It's like you have the predecessor, the original ones, and then they make the new ones, and then you have like succeeding generations, sort of thing. That's the sense I'm getting out of it. I could be off. Tag.
let's see. So I'm trying to think. What was the? Oh right. All right. But Israel trusts in Adonai. Ezra, he is their aid. Maginam, and their shield. He's their aid and their shield. The house of Aaron trusts in Adonai, their helper, and their shield. Those who fear Adonai trust in Adonai, their helper and their shield. Adonai, who remembers us, shall bless. He shall bless the house of Israel. He shall bless the house of Aaron. He shall bless the fears of the Lord, the small and the great. He shall add blessing upon you and upon your sons. You shall be blessed repeatedly by the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. The heaven, hashamayim shamayim la Adonai. Interesting. So the heavens are heavens for Adonai. Hashamayim shamayim. Yeah, it's an interesting way of phrasing it, but the heavens are the heavens for Adonai, and the earth he gave to the children of man. All right, here. Wait, I feel like what was the point of bringing this up in the first place? I hope this is the right one. I don't even remember what it was before that made. It was. Oh, right. I know what it was. If I can't find it, I know how to. So the heavens are the heavens of the Lord. He has given the earth to the children of man. Those consigned to eternal death shall not praise you, nor those descending to eternal silence. So lo ha-metim, the dead will not praise Yah, and those and all those who your day dumba, and all those who descend into silence will not praise Yah. So it's interesting because it's not saying all that is will praise, it's all that breathes will praise Yah. But let's see, but we shall bless the Lord from now and evermore. Hallelujah. Wait, ve'anachnu nevarech Yah ma'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah. From now and until eternity. Okay, where is it? Was something about. Oh, here I'm just going to search. Oh, before I need to find. So the one about Adon was 14. Okay, so it's 114.7. I'm going to send this to a friend who would enjoy it. All right, so we're let's see, the death of the righteous. Death of the righteous. I do not know how I wasn't able to find sheets. Death of the righteous. Okay, here. What's the source for this? Okay, well, what's this? Okay, commentary. Wait, no, it would be reference. Shoot. It must not be here then. Sorry, give me one moment. Okay, death of the righteous. Oh, that's weird. It did show up. I guess it just. Oh wait, Tanakh. It is in Psalms. Psalm 7:14. Well, that's embarrassing. I totally mix it up. Okay. Wait, what? He has prepared for him the. What? Where? Something. This does not. The death of the righteous. Okay, it's saying it's. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. Psalms. It's of the. No, it's not that one then. So death of righteousness. Okay, Parsha Shmini, Parsha Para. Okay, that describes the death of Miriam, just opposed to. Let's see here. Okay, I'm just going to find this somewhere else. So the death of the righteous. Okay, here. Let's see. Psalms once. You've got to be kidding me. I was so close. 116. Oh, that's actually kind of painful. I was so close. So, let's see. Go back. All right, Psalms. Oh, wait, here. Let's see. 116. 116 was. Oh, David says, after becoming king following Saul's death, I have desired that the Lord hear my voice, my supplications, for he has inclined his ear to me, and in all of my days I will call to him, in affliction to beseech him, in redemption to praise him. When the throes of death surrounded me, and the straits of Sheol found me, when affliction and sorrow found me, and I called out in the name of the Lord, I beseech you, O Lord, deliver my soul. For the Lord is gracious and righteous, and our God is merciful. The Lord protects the innocent. When I was impoverished, he saved me. I said, is this where Shomer? Wait, he protected Patayim. I don't know. Daloti when I was poor. Yeah. And so so it's interesting. And Veli Yehoshia. So what's interesting is, like, there's this whole tradition that Christians have of the pentagrammaton, that it's like a Christian Kabbalah thing where it's like they just put a shin in between. So yeah, but what's interesting is it actually doesn't work, because Yehoshua, which is where Yeshua would have come from, is from Yud Hey. It would be Yud Hey Vav Shin Ayin. So it's this is really close, but what's interesting is that personally, it's a name that comes up so often. It's basically like the male version of Mary. So I don't think it's necessarily as significant as some Christians might think, but I do think it is significant nonetheless, and it explains why that name was used for that. But literally, this idea of the Lord protects the innocent. What's this? On Daloti. Oh, this is God. Or sorry, no, not God talking. It's David speaking about God. So anyway, I said to my soul after Saul's death, return my soul to your repose, for the Lord has been gracious to you. For you rescued my soul from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from falling. I shall walk before the Lord in the lands of the living, which this is corresponding with the land of Israel, or in a land of Canaan, Palestine, however you choose to call it, whence my foes drove me in the days of Saul. I believe the words of Ziva against Mephibosheth when I said, yours is all that belonged to Mephibosheth, after which, realizing my error, I humbled myself to you exceedingly. Okay, where is it? Okay. Wait. 7? I feel it. 1/6. Okay, it was 116. I'm just going to see if it's even here. Okay, here I found it. Yeah, it's further below. Okay. I shall walk before the Lord in the lands of the living, whence my foes drive me in the days of Saul. I believe the words of Ziva. Oh, wait. I had said in my haste to escape my son Avshalom, all men speak deceit, for which reason I give credence to Ziva's words that Mephibosheth too was a traitor. What shall I return to the Lord for all his loving kindness to me? The cup of salvations, the libations for the thanksgiving offerings that I vowed, shall I lift in the name of the Lord? Shall I call thanksgiving you, thanking you for this salvation? My vows to the Lord shall I pay in the presence of all his people. I have seen, Yakar be'enei, Yakar, precious be'enei Adonai, precious in the eyes of Adonai. Hamavta is the death, lechasidav, the death of his righteous ones. Right here, this translates as saints. It could also be pious ones, godly ones, holy ones, saintly ones, kind ones. Let's see, but basically, and then, interesting. I acknowledge, O Lord, that you have been gracious unto me, for I am your servant. The son of your maidservant. Now, what's interesting is this word amatecha, a maidservant, has some like some correspondence with the word alma, which is what is the word that gets translated as virgin in the Septuagint, as Virgo, but was originally alma, which would be more like maiden. But pitachta lemoserai, for which reason you opened my bonds. To you shall I sacrifice an offering of thanksgiving for the miracles that you wrought for me, and in the name of the Lord I will I call my vows, the offering that I vowed to the Lord shall I now pay in the presence of all his people. You who stand in the courts of the house of the Lord in your midst, Jerusalem, echo my praises. Hallelujah. All right, so it's interesting. But yeah, basically I just wanted to bring up that idea, but that you have it directly paralleled within, let's see, the, what was it? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, here.
On a side note, just so I remember, I've forgotten. Bethula was the word for virgin, wasn't it? If I'm right.
Yeah, so the betula,
Yeah,
betula means virgin, but it's not used in in, what was it? Is it Ezekiel? That's the one that people see as prophetic, I think. So okay, here I think I found. Let's see here.
Also heard that apparently it's not used in the Old Testament. I'm not too sure on that one, but I'll ask you on that one.
If what is?
The word betula.
So it is used, but not in the context of not in the context of like the prophecy of the child that will be born.
Okay, thank you.
So
I just kind of forgot, so I thought I'd ask you.
So here, I just found this. Let's see. So let's see. All right. John D. Levinson wrote The Death and Resurrection of the Beloved Son, the Transformation of Child Sacrifice in Judaism and Christianity, to argue essentially that the Christ of faith figure in the Gospels and Pauline epistles was a distinctly Christian Jewish midrashic creation. Jesus' identity as a sacrificial victim, the son handed over to death by his loving father, or the lamb who takes away the sins of the world, ostensibly so alien to Judaism, was itself constructed from Jewish reflection on the beloved sons of the Hebrew Bible. Another theme of Levinson's work is that the Christian understanding that Jewish religion was obsolete is also the product of a midrash on Jewish scriptures. The longstanding claim of the church that it supersedes the Jews in large measure continues the old narrative pattern in which a late-born son dislodges his firstborn brothers. Oh, wow. With varying degrees of success, nowhere does Christianity betray its indebtedness to Judaism more than in its supersessionism.
Can I say something as well quickly? There were a few Gnostics that believed that Jesus was a complete myth, and rather it was for you to be like Christ yourself. So, it wouldn't surprise me either if it was a myth made up and it was all symbolic. Well, I personally believe there was a physical man, but that's about all. But I'm happy up for it's just a myth. To me, being a Gnostic, it's me to be like Christ my own self. Basically, I couldn't care less. It's about my own path.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see if I can. Okay, is it showing? Okay, let's see if I search for Phoenician.
There's also people that believe Jesus was Phoenician as well, if he exists as well, which is quite interesting.
I'm going to be honest, like I've heard the argument from Karim El-Kusa. I think he's onto a lot of truth, but I think he ends up falling into a lot of nationalist traps because of the fact that he sees the Israelites as something incredibly distinct and not connected to the Phoenicians, when in reality, the Israelites were a Phoenician civilization.
I was going to say, it depends on your definition there. You could sit there and say the Phoenicians were a Canaanite civilization.
Okay.
All diverse.
Well,
yeah. Well, they're all kind of related to the Canaanites, technically, anyway, so they all came from them. So
yes, but so what I'm saying is that's a distinction without a difference. The Phoenicians never called themselves Phoenicians. The closest they might have called themselves was Fenku, which has to do with, I think, with timber. But the way that they actually called themselves by the time basically in all the records was Kinanu, and Kinanu is just another word for Canaanite, because Canaanite is derived from the term Kanani, Kinanu. In northern like in Lebanon, they end up pronouncing like that. So like, say your name is like, okay, I mean, this isn't a perfect analysis or perfect parallel, but basically say your name's Tommy. Your name's now Tamu if you live in Lebanon, versus in Israel it'd be Tommy. Or what would be about Avi versus Abu. And you also see it continued on with Arabic, how it's Abu instead of wait, what would it be? Yeah, I think in the father. Yeah, I think in Hebrew it would just be like Av and then the name, whereas in Arabic it would be Abu. So like say Abu Ibrahim, in Hebrew it would be Av Avraham, which is actually kind of fun. Like that say the father of Jacob. So you'd either have Abu Ishak or Avitzchak. But so basically with that, so Kinanu, Kinani, it's the same word, just different pronunciation. And so by that definition, it's kind of like Phoenicians. It's also, are we talking about only the coastal cities, or are we talking about anyone that was part of that cultural, circle of influence? And so, but for all intents and purposes, Phoenician, Canaanite, I'm using the two interchangeably. And it is that is like something that I feel comfortable doing from a scholarly perspective.
And I was going to say,
with a lot of people too. Sorry, brother. You continue. My bad.
No, go ahead, Nathan. I was just
going to say they mixed with some Carthaginians, or over in Carthage they mixed in with some of them, and also some Greeks loved them as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I'm going scholarly as well, and I'm going sort of the pre-Bronze Age collapse, and I'm sort of seeing the Phoenicians as being specifically the grouping of the coastal cities, and what came after with Byblos, Tyre, and Sidon being the core there. And it's like above that you have Ugarit, which which is kind of its own creature. To the east of that you have Yamhad, and then you have more of the Egyptians down towards Gaza. And it's like, I just see that coastal strip as being its own cultural entity, which then also gave root later to Carthage. And it's like, what term would you like me to use for specifically those? Because I see those as different than the, the larger Canaan, especially the inland, highland mountains, more highland areas, like where Jerusalem is.
I think it's almost like maybe the difference between American and Yankee. Because Yankee outside of America refers to all Americans, but in America refers only to a very specific region.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like, what term would you like me to use? Because I see those coastal cities as very separate entity than in their own nature than the larger group that's offshoot.
Yeah, I reckon I'll avoid that one as well. I'm with you on that one, Graham.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the term Canaanite would be better in this context, but yeah, I see where you're coming from. But anyway, for the sake of time, I ended up finding what I was looking for. So, both Canaanite and Jewish myths. As discussed in the earlier post in the series, there was the old Canaanite theme of God El, who offered his only son. Again, not literally only son. It's more so this idea of, well, and here I'll go into it, but that the word for only is also connected to the word for special. So we're going to say his special son, in order to avert disaster. This offered son was said to be the monogenes, the only son, or the only begotten son. Philo of Byblos translates the name of the son of El, whom El offered, as Yehud, which is connected to... Also, it's possible that when you have an O here, that's actually to be read like a hu, so Yehud. So either Yehud or Yedud. Now, Yehud is either a reference to Yehuda. Now, what's interesting is, what's the second name? Yedud. The Dud from beloved is the same root as David or David. Now, it's interesting that David is from the house of, basically that Yedud is from the house of Yehud, but that they were both once, or almost like the prototypes for Judah as well as David. Also notice both of them end up erring when it comes to being tempted by women. And, well, the funny thing is that in the case of Judah and Tamar, like she was owed that, whereas in the case of David and Bathsheba, he basically arranged for her husband to be off so that he could marry her, which I mean is pretty fucked up. And so I think that within that, it's kind of interesting to know that there's a lot of these parallels between these two figures, not only because one comes from the other's line, but also because these two, like, I don't know, it's slang for another time, but behind this Yehud is the Hebrew word yachid, the favored one, the same term repeatedly applied to Isaac. Take now thy son, thine only son, whom you love, even Isaac. You have not withheld your son, your only son, from me, because you have not withheld your son, your only son. What? One Septuagint translation of this word uses the Greek monogenes when it applies to Yiftach, or Jephthah's daughter, in Judges 11:34. Another Septuagint version combines monogenes, auto agapete. She was his only child and beloved daughter. Whoa, Yachid and Yahud and Yadud. Only child and beloved daughter. So the resonances of Jewish and Canaanite myths lurk beneath the Christian message outlined in the Romans passage at the beginning of this post. And the Christian God, although the Jewish myth, of course, dominates, in the Jewish myth, the motive for giving up the beloved son was a love greater than that for the son, not fear of calamity, as was the motive in the Canaanite myth. And when Jesus was the one identified as the Son of God, then God himself was transformed into the image of Father Abraham. I titled this post Remaking God in the Image of Abraham, but I'm not sure to what extent there was any real remake, or if this remake was really about shifting the image of a Godfather God who demands absolute fealty to one who guises that mafia-like Godfather image beneath a love garment, rather than a theological innovation. Does the new myth represent a Stockholm syndrome? Those who saw themselves captive to their Godfather have come to love him, since they see themselves as totally dependent on him. One more post to go, I think, to finish off the series. This is really interesting. This is from Neil Godfrey. Biblical Studies, New Testament, Old Testament. Definitely going to post this if anyone wants to check this out.
Nice article. Some kind of unrelated, but there were some Canaanite groups that followed Jesus too, that sort of believed that he was Yahweh in the flesh and his father was El, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting because by the time you have the establishment of the Trinitarian doctrine, that idea becomes unfeasible because Yahweh is the Father, and then that means that Jesus has to be the Son, whereas, you know, really the original understanding probably would have been Jesus as an avatar of Yahweh, and that El. I think within that idea, it's almost like, in a sense, you could view Abraham as a avatar of El.
Because they also believe that certain people will be granted aspects of the God, like you would have wisdom and courage and all that sort of stuff, like the daemons, ancestor spirits. And,
yeah, it's fascinating, like absolutely
100%.
fascinating. Here, let's see where going to continue with the video, and we'll break into the into actual Torah portion real quick. Let's see. So we're on the Bakar Kever.
I should be quickly back, guys. Just go go to the toilet, take a wee.
All right, no worries.
It's water running through me.
Hey, Avi. Welcome. Any comments before I continue with the video? All right, no worries.
I hear nothing.
You don't hear anything now?
Yes, anything.
All right. Here. Let me see. We're at let's see, duplicate. Oh, I see it. Does this work?
I don't hear anything on my end either. But Ariel, sorry
Yeah.
guys, do you mind if I make a boost on this one? Just because I got my little brother here, so I was going to cook him tea. So
Oh, sure.
thank you. Many blessings, guys. Much love. Next time I'll join though.
Definitely.
Take care. Many
No,
blessings, everyone. Lovely meeting everyone. Peace and
Take
love.
care. Take care. Have a great day. All right. So, Avi, let's see. All right. Is it working now?
No, still volume 0.
All right. Weird. I'm going to try something else. Present your screen. Here. Let's see if this works. Can you hear this now?
No.
Okay. This is. Let's see. What about this?
Nothing.
Strange.
Love you, fantastic, wonderful, spiritual
What about
level.
this?
Here from spiritual
Oh.
level. You have spiritual.
So I just heard it.
All right. So let's see. Maybe this works.
Rather, these animals possess
Yes.
All right.
distinct features that are found in the animalistic drives of man, specifically his personality trait. And that's a topic within itself. So from shechita or through shechita, the existence of ben habakar is nullified, where it becomes what the Torah calls an olah. And olah literally is elevation. Other translations will say a burnt offering because it's a part of the offering that nobody partook of. The individual who offered it, the Kohen who oversaw the procedure, nobody received any benefit from it. In fact, in a way, a person who did olah was losing out because, unlike, let's say, a shelamim or korban todah, Thanksgiving offering, somebody can receive benefit from it. An elevation offering is like a burnt. It's completely consumed. Nobody receives any benefit. But olah is very deep thought because the root of olah is from the root word Allah, which means ascension, like aliyah, okay? One who ascends. And so when we nullify our animal desire, our soul experiences an ascension. There's an expansion of our consciousness. And due to the sublime concept, Jewish law teaches that when shechita is performed, it has to be done with kavanah. There has to be done with intention. The shochet, the individual involved in the slaughtering, must direct his mind to the korban standing before Hashem. If shechita is performed with one's mind on something else, well, then guess what? Let's say they take the korban olah and they're going to slaughter it like it's a korban chatat or a korban todah. Chazal says that korban that's done that way is puzzle. It's invalid. We see here in Masachet Zevachim 47a. From where in Scripture is it known that the unwitting slaughtering of a korban is invalid? It is known from that which is stated here in Leviticus 1:5 that he shall v'shachat et ben habachar, slaughter the ben habachar lifnei Adonai, before Hashem. This teaches that the korban is not valid unless the slaughtering is performed for the sake, l'shem ben bachar, for the sake of a young bull. So because the expression lifnei Hashem is there, that means shaviti Adonai lenegdi tamid, as it says in Psalm 16, I place Hashem before me always. That the consciousness of the person doing the shechita process must have this in mind. And this is also why, on a deeper level, the kohanim, when they perform the whole avodah, they didn't need to be aroused with external stimuli like the Levites who were on the dukin, the platform, before the public worshiping Hashem in beautiful song and melody. The kohanim did everything in silence. There was a silence to their avodah, and therefore their attentions, their thoughts had energy to affect what would happen between the upper and lower realms. This is very deep. Going back here to Chazal, they comment on this further, and it's over here. Amar Rabbi Shmuel told the Rav Huna that derivation was already in our hands. But from where do we learn that the kavanah requirement is essential? And without its fulfillment, the korban is invalid. He said, well, it's known from that which is stated in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 5. You shall slaughter it according to your will, which is understood as meaning that you shall slaughter with awareness. Kavanah is determined, only by the one who performs the avodah. Once shechita is performed, okay, the next process is the hakarava, is the process of drawing near. The hakarava process includes two steps. Okay, you have the kabbalat hadam, the receiving of the blood, and then there is the holacha, Okay, the holacha is the walking, all right, in which the Kohen is going to transfer the blood that he received in a kli sharet, a holy vessel, one that was designed to receive the blood. As you see in this depiction here, it was a cup per se that had a pointed bottom, okay, a cylinder-based object, and it was designed in this way so the blood would not congeal. So when the Kohen would transport the blood to the Mizbeach, as we'll see, not all korbanot were treated the same, and I talked about this in previous classes, that some of the blood of a different korbanot would be placed at different parts of the Mizbeach or the altar. So here, when the Kohen receives the blood, kabbalat adam, he would then walk, transfer, okay, the blood, once again, in kli sharet, a holy vessel. And so he would perform the holacha, the walking, bringing the blood to the altar. Now, what's interesting here is that the kli sharet, it sanctifies all of its contents and includes them within a sphere of the sanctuary. What do I mean? Well, once the blood is received in this kli, this vessel, it's elevated. The holacha, the conveying of the blood into the spatile proximity of the altar, is a physical representation of the concept of drawing near to God. The Torah says the individual qualified to perform this avodah must be bnei Aharon ha-kohanim, must be of the sons of Aaron, the kohanim. Now this is interesting, but why does the Torah need to tell us that the sons of Aaron are kohanim? Isn't that a given? Who else are the kohanim, if not the sons of Aaron? Well, according to Chazal, the term bnei Aharon, it denotes an unblemished lineage that is spiritually whole. So in other words, it's not just describing genetics of certain individuals who are direct descendants of Aaron. It's also describing their spiritual character. We see here in Masechet Zevachim 13a. It says, Bnei Aharon HaKohanim, that what that means is that the avodah receiving the blood should be performed by a qualified Kohen, clothed in his priestly service vestments. Now I left an asterisk mark there because even the English translation of the Gemara here is not doing justice to what it says in the Hebrew, right? It doesn't say priestly service vestments. No, it says kli sharet. In other words, Chazal is calling the bigdei kehuna, the garments that the priests wore, a kli sharet, very similar to the vessel that was used to perform any of the avodah in the temple. That's very important, very interesting per se. Okay, these vestments, these garments,
Interesting
are called
indeed.
holy vessels, kli sharet. Once again, which is classified in the same category of other holy instruments that were used for the performance of the korbanot. Chazal continued commenting on this in Masechet Zevachim 13a. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva asked the question, for where do we know that the avodah kabbalat adam should be done by a qualified kohen clothed in his kli sharet? It's stated in Numbers 19:33 over there that the Bnei Aharon, they are called the anointed kohanim. Just as the verse refers to a qualified kohen clothed in his kli sharet, so here too the verse refers to a qualified kohen also clothed in his kli sharet, his holy vessel, right? Holy vessel. Once again, the term service vestments, or in Hebrew, kli sharet, is a reference to holy vessels used to perform the avodah of the korbanot. By identifying.
All right, on that note, we will get started. So, Avi, you have any thoughts before we start?
No. Let's continue.
Oh, actually, I did just remember something. So, have you ever read? Here, I'm going to send you a message in Messenger that has it. Here, I'm going to edit it so you can see it better. We talked about it in the stream. I don't know if you were there, but basically Psalms Tehillim 114.
Okay. What about?
Yeah. Milfnei Adonai, or sorry, Milfnei Adon. I haven't ever seen Adon used in that context. Almost always it's like Adoni, Adonai.
Adon is the ancient name of the Baal.
So
Adon is the Lord, but we are generally calling Adonai Yehovah. We are calling him Adon as the Lord, but he just inherited the this name from the Baal. So there is a similarity between the Baal and Adonai, and this psalm is just trying to tell the story of a mysterious historical earthquake or volcano eruption that made the Jordan rift to be opened, and then a river just flowed from the top of the mountain of the Baal, which is the Hermon mountain. So since originally the Hermon was the mountain of the Baal, and later the Baal was converted to be Jehovah, so this psalm is trying to describe the primordial myth of the creation of the world. However, you asked me what is Adon and why they are calling the Lord Adon and not Adonai, and the answer is this is another name of him.
So what would the functional difference between Adon and Adonai be? I mean, obviously I know what it is grammatically, but more so what's the difference in terms of...
I think that there is no difference. Adonai is I just looked the word of this in linguistics. So this is second person plural, my lords, and I mean you are my lords, and Adon is the third person singular, so he is my lord. This is the only difference.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is, let's see, does it, here, let me see. Yeah, because here in nowhere does it say who, it just says milfne. Also, this is the other thing I was suggesting. Is it possible that milfne Adon chuli aretz?
Chuli aretz is then walk away the land, or you shall dance the land.
Well, no, but there's also the idea of bring forth, of birthing.
No, chuli again is dance. Dance is machol.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, like, I know for a fact that there's also a context like halal.
Okay, halal. We just talked about it. Halal is a circle with a hole inside. So when dancing in circles, you are dancing around someone.
Yeah, but like that movement of the dancing without the context of feet dancing, you have this idea of swirling, or like of bringing forth. I mean, like that word is used to describe the birth of wisdom before the foundation of the earth.
Yes, I'm talking about the cosmic dance, that was in the middle of the creation process. So
Anyway, what I'm suggesting though, is it possible that this idea of milfne Adon chuli aretz, it's not talking about like milfne as in like from before the presence, but it's actually referring from before Adon caused the...
No, because the previous verse is talking about the dance of the mountain like rams, and the dance of the hills like herds. So this verse number 7, is just a continuation of this dance story. I hope that you know what I mean.
Yeah. But let's see. Just trying mountains. Okay. Dang. I thought I was maybe onto something, but no.
By the way, this is not just the the creation myth of the world, but since in verse 1 it is talking about the exodus from Egypt, some mefarshim,
Splitting the sea.
some interpretators just argue that this cosmic dance was as the earth just heard the shockwave of the dividing of the sea.
Interesting. I can see how that translation or that interpretation.
Or not the dividing of the sea, but the
splitting.
shockwave of the receiving of the Torah in Mount Sinai.
Interesting.
But these two things are just an equivalent of the creation story. You can see in the scripture that the Bria is being parallelized with the Kabbalat Torah.
The Bria, the creation
is being parallelized with the receiving
parallel.
of Torah.
Okay, yeah, that.
Or these two events are breakpoints in the saga of the Messiah. So the first period of the world started with the creation and ended with the exile from the Garden of Eden, and this is what is called Shemitah. And the other Shemitah, the other period of the chronology of the world, was started in the Exodus, the receiving of the Torah, and ended with the entrance to the Holy Land.
So it's almost like going out and coming back in.
Yes, and all these breakpoints in the saga are being described as a shockwave or an earthquake or something like this. When all the world creatures and the earth is being shocked and moving from side to side, and in the words of the Gemara, the world is being shocked 40 miles on 40 miles, I think. Do you know this phrase?
Like that.
מזדעזע, shocked.
No, I've never heard of it.
40 mil, 40 miles. And
Wow.
And the voice is being heard from the one end of the world to the other.
Cool. Anyway, so yeah, let's get started.
However, let's just summarize it. Adon is one of the names of the god, and it was originated from the Baal. Baal is a husband or an owner, and so is a lord, which owns something.
And then also, another thing I've heard that was in Ugari, that Adon also had a connotation of father.
Adon is a father? I don't know, but maybe.
No, it was specific to Ugarit. But
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Adon is something like a king. So maybe the king is the father of the nation.
Let's see, Adon, father.
Yeah, I see that in Ugarit the name is Ad, A-D, and this is a father.
Yeah, so it's like it would be like in Hebrew, it would be like avon, but it with the aleph vav. I mean aleph vet. Sorry. I don't know, father. Yeah, Adon literally means Lord. Adon has an uncertain etymology, although it is generally believed to be derived from the Ugaritic ad, father. Yeah, like you said. All right, let's get started because.
And maybe this is the reason why the Aramaic equivalent of the god is Adad.
Yeah, ad or Adu.
So makes sense.
Yeah, had that. It would be like, oh, this is fascinating because if you switch the Daled with a Vav, what do you get if you switch that with Hadad? You get Havav or Hovav. Which isn't that one of the alternate names of Yitro, of Jethro?
Chovav.
Oh,
Chovav, not Yovav.
No. I was saying Hovav, but never mind. It's still wrong. But
So let's start reading.
yeah, definitely. All right. Oh, right here. Let's see. Oh, 1 second. I'll be right back. Left something over there. But it does raise the idea that was basically, so if you have Adad or Hadad, and you switch that to get Havav, doesn't Havav like Hovev like for instance, like what was it that there was that one pre-state organization, I think it was Hovevei Tzion, like the Lovers of Zion, like Hovev. Isn't it connected to the root for love?
I don't know.
Okay, well now I'm looking this up real quick because it's going to bug me if I don't. Let's see. Here, Shares tab. Let's see. Okay. Havev.
No. Het.
What?
The word is with het.
What word?
Chovev.
No, I'm saying no. Wait, I thought it was Hovev.
Calling me?
Let's see. Hovev. No, it's Aramaic.
Here again.
What?
Here again. So Chavav with het.
Oh, you're right. I don't know why. Wait, so then what about the root? What's the root?
Maybe Ahav Aleph Hey Bet is connected with the Av Aleph Bet and with Chovav, which is with the Hey was converted to Het. They both throat throaty. So and the Aleph was gone, and the Bet was doubled.
Interesting. All right. Anyway, let's get started now that we figured some of that out. Let's see, where did I put it? One, and then let's go. All right. Barechu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Here, Leviticus 2. Wait, what? Where's 3? Or am I? What on? Where is 3? This is so strange. Oh, I guess I never updated here. Okay. Alright, so and then this goes for. Gotta check this because I'm just going to do each as long as it goes. So
And I just want to note something that I probably said in the last time. Shelamim is the equivalent of the Phisia sacrifice in the Greek worship. So shelamim is, sorry, I will tell it after I will answer the call.
all right, no worries. All right, so see this fourth. So we start with fourth, 3. It's confusing. So fourth starts at 3, fifth starts at 4. I wonder if 6 starts at 5. That would make logical sense. Oh shoot, I'm still there. Also, Grandma, are you still there? Just checking.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what making logical sense has to do with the Bible.
Oh no, internal logical sense.
Oh,
Talking
okay.
about,
Okay.
from a linguistic standpoint.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so all right, here we go. ואם זה הבח shelamim korbanos, אם מן הבקר הוא מהקריב, אם זכרים נקבה דמים, יקריבנו לפני אדוני. You know what? I am going to try to live on the wild side a bit, so I'm going to take off all vowels and see how I can do. All right. V'samach yado al rosh karbenu v'shachatu patach ohel moed v'zarku b'nei Aharon הכהנים את הדם המזבח סביב, והקריב מזבח השלמים אשר לאדוני את החלב המסכה. את הקרב ואת כל החלב אשר על הקרב, ואת שתי החלית, ואת החלב אשר עליהן, אשר על החסל, את הכסלים, ועם היתר, ואת היתרת על הכבוד, על כליות יסירנה. ויקטירו איתו בני אהרון המזבח על הלאו אשר על העצים אשר על האש אשר ריח ניחוח לאדוני, ואם מן הצאן קרבנו לזבח shelamim לאדוני, זכר או נקבה תמים יקריבנו. אם כסף הוא מקריב את קרבנו, וקורבנו והקריב אותו לפני אדוני ושמח את ידו על ראש קורבנו ושחט אותו לפני אוהל מועד וזרקו בני אהרון את דמו על המזבח סביב והקריב מזבח השלמים של אדוני מחל בו עליה תמימה לאמן העצה יסירונה ואת החלב המכסה את הקרב ואת כל החלב אשר על הקרב ואת שתי הכלית ואת החלב אשר עליהן אשר על כסלים ואת היותרת על הכבוד על הכלית יסירינה והקטירו הכהן המזבח הלחם של אדוני וימוז קורבנו ויקריבו לפני אדוני ושמח את ידו על ראשו ושחט אותו לפני אוהל מועד וזרקו בני אהרון את דמו על המזבח סביב והקריב ממנו קרבנו של אדוני את החלב המכסה את הקריב ואת כל החלב אשר על הקרב ואת שתי הכלית ואת החלב אשר עליהן אשר על הכסלים ואת היותרת על הכבוד על הכלית יסירנה והקטירם הכהן המזבח הלחם אשר לריח ניחוח כל חלב לאדוני חקת עולם לדורתיכם בכל מושבתיכם כל חלב וכל דם לא תאכלו.
It is not chalav but chelev.
True, but also, I mean, it's also chalav.
No, this is not milk, but a fat, or I think it is called sweat or something like this.
No, what I'm saying is that especially without the Masoret, like, yeah, that's the most literal interpretation, but there's also other ways you could read that.
Okay.
Like, for instance, here, chalev, I mean, like, it could also be the choicest or best part, abundance of products of the land, the fatty concretion of like obviously, yeah, within the context, like in one of the cases, it's the fat that is upon it. Yeah, it's not the milk that's upon it, but it's also like, well, I'll go over that as we translate it, but I mean,
Suet. This is what it's called.
What?
S-U-E-T, suet.
S-U-E-T. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. it's just not something that's typically used, like at least commonly. But yeah, anyway, but no, I mean, if I was reading with the vowels, I wouldn't have read that chalav, but I'm just doing whatever comes to mind. And I kind of like that because, like, obviously I'm translating it. I'll get what the intended meaning is, but just because the context kind of necessitates it. But anyway, and if karbenu, and if you shelamim, and if sacrifices of peace, or if peace, like, and if peace offerings wait, korbanot, korbanot, no, and if if an offering if the offering of peace is a near offering or a korbanot, imin habakar, if it is from the bakar, from the cattle, hu makriv imzach. I'm just going to read it with the because it's easier to do that this way. But I like the idea of, at least when I'm like singing it off, doing it with that. Like, so and korbanot imin habakar. Right, and if was this peace offerings are his are the sacrifice or the near offering from the cattle, he will bring makriv, he will bring close the male or the female tamim, the pure, or like unblemished male or female, yarkibenu, he will bring that, they will be brought lifnei Adonai, before Adonai, v'samach yado, and he will support his hand upon the head of the
not support. Samach is put his hand around his head.
What's it that you're saying?
To put your hands around the head of the animal.
I mean, it's to rest your hand on it. I mean, to lean, lay, rest, support, put, uphold, lean upon. I mean, it's support is not an incorrect translation here.
To lean the hand, yes.
But the thing is, he's not putting the weight of anything but his hand, whereas typically leaning you do with your whole body weight. This is just, he's supporting the weight of his hand on it. I mean, it's just...
You see that leaning your hands is a sacrament both in Judaism and in Christianity. When you are leaning your hand around someone, you just either giving him the authority, or just giving him the transferring the holiness.
Yeah, but it's just it's a semantic issue, because you're saying you can lean upon or lean your hand, but the tradition, at least within English that I've always heard it, is to lay hands upon rather than lean hands, because like to lean, the idea, at least I always get, is that leaning is something that requires support. Like, in order for something to be leaned upon, or like in order for you to lean upon something, it almost implies that without that weight, that thing would not. Which I guess you could argue if you're talking about your hand, but the thing is, your hand is connected to your arm, so even if you don't rest your hand on the head of a sacrifice, it's going to drop down to below your side, but it's not going to fall to the ground.
Okay.
But no, what I'm saying is that, like, the lean, lay, and support, I mean, like, contextual, but like support would be correct here. It's like It's just a choice in translation.
Okay.
Like it says, lean his hand on the head. At least, yeah. Just to me, I would never say lean if you're not like you can lean something, but it basically, in my understanding, leaning requires the entire weight of something or a majority of the weight of something to be leaning on that. Otherwise, it's not leaning; it would just be resting. But anyway, and he will. But also be somech. Somech means to support or to sustain, to uphold, to hold up. Okay, and he will hold up his hand upon the head of the sacrifice, and he will he will slaughter it, or he will he'll shacht it, he'll slaughter it, sacrifice it at the petach ohel, at the opening at the door of the tent of moed, of the tent of meeting. Vizarku, and he will sprinkle Vizarku b'nei Aharon, the children of Aaron, hakohanim, the priests, will sprinkle et hadam, the dam, the blood, al hamizbeach, upon the altar, saviv, all around it. Vehikriv mizbeach hashlamim, and they will bring. Wait, what? Okay, interesting. Oh no, mizevach, not mizbeach. But see, it's like I just think it's so interesting how here, really, before the Masoretic tradition, you're completely reliant on context. But also, it could be vehikriv mizbeach hashlamim. Is it possible that there's also a mizbeach hashlamim, that there was a specific altar that they offered the mizevach hashlamim upon? I don't know, just a thought. And if there are individual altars, it kind of raises the question: are these potentially to different figures or different aspects of God? I mean, because like just looking at different ways that people can connect to God, one of them is afflicting yourself, or anna, like was it anu, or from the root anna, but it's also the root of anat. Meanwhile, you have this mizevach hashlamim, the peace offerings, also potentially connected to shalem. Then you have was it the tzedek or tzedakah offerings, potentially connected to tzedek. You have what else? The esha offerings, the fire offerings, potentially connected to Ishat, the fire bitch of the gods. Then you have the molech offerings, which, depending on who you talk to, either was to a god molech or milkom, or potentially was just to any god. And then you have I'm trying to think what other offerings you have that I forgot to mention. Anyway, but I just wonder, is there like maybe a reason why this is not supposed? But if you were to read it that way, let's see. And you will bring the altar of the shelamim, of the peace offerings, as it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense in this context. Yeah, I as much as I want it to be, it wouldn't fit. All right, and you were to bring the sacrifice of peace, or the peace sacrifice, or the peace offering, Ishe l'Adonai, as a fire offering for Adonai, et ha-chelev, the choice, ha-mechaseh et ha-kerev, the choice cuts, or alternatively the fat that covers over the kerev. Now, if we were to read it this way, to read the chelev as milk, I wonder. So the kerev. Now, what is this? Imagine this. The mechaseh. That okay. Now, what if it's not covered or can? Okay, wait. Let's see. Ha-mechaseh. That the thing that the. Is it possible that mechaseh could be read as not the thing that is, not the thing that conceals, but the thing that is concealed?
I don't think so.
Damn.
I think this is simply covering, because around the inner organs, or any organ of any animal, you have just white tissue around it of fat. So what they mean, that they want to they want to remove the fat and burn it on the altar.
Interesting. There's also another rendering of this root to be overwhelmed, or like let's see, wait, was this the leprosy, the skin of flesh to cover or spread over?
They want to scrape the fat.
No, I get that. I'm just trying to see if there's a way, because kerev obviously refers to the
Kerev is something.
I know it's the guts. It doesn't.
The inner organs, something that is inside.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to argue is, could it also be this idea of the milk that is inside, like just trying to read it on another level, because it's like it's pretty obvious what. Interesting that let's see, like whatever. Let's move on because it's right. Atakarev, so the fat that covers the innards and all the fat that is upon the karev, that is upon the inner part or entrails, the et shtei ha kelayot, and the two kelayot, the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, as that is upon haksalim, that is upon the what's this? It says loins, but that is upon the.
This is some random name of an inner organ.
Interesting.
You see that in the book of Joshua, they are calling the shapes of the mountain kesel. So this is probably something from the side of the body.
So just looking at this, so it's rendered as loins or flank, stupidity, folly, confidence, or hope. Honestly,
stupid is the ksil, but it is not related to the kesel. Kesel is maybe indeed a loin.
But that's
this is something that is in the side of the body.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you look at Kesa and then you look at what was it, the Kasil, what was it, the word he said for stupidity?
Ksilut.
Yeah, Ksil. So Ksil versus Kesel, like, I mean, it seems like it's kind of the idea of, oh, you've got balls on you. You know, the idea that you might do something that's kind of stupid or, gutsy. But it's also, I don't know, it seems like it could be referring to, it could be like another word for the testicles. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. That's just my interpretation.
This is a very archaic word. So in modern Hebrew, you are not using this word, and since this word was not in use for thousands of years, no one knows exactly what it is.
Right. And the that which remains upon, yoter, the appendage or the extension, protrusion that is upon the kaved, that is upon the liver, upon the kidneys, yasirena, that
we remove it.
Oh, it's like, oh, you wake up in an ice bath, then you don't have your kidneys.
So I said about the Greek sacrifice, and in the Greek sacrifice, the same organs were removed, but the use of the organs in the Greek worship is of divinity. And in the Jewish worship, of course, it's not divinity, because divinity is
Divination.
Divination. Sorry,
Sorry.
divinity is something else. Divination is forbidden. So these parts were either eaten or burned.
Yeah, but I don't agree that there's not divination, because they're literally using the breastplate of the high priest in order to communicate with God.
Urim vetumim.
Yeah, but it has to do with communicating and like knowing what God thought about, like it's intricately connected. So it's almost like the difference between imagine it's like the difference between you burning meat. Like imagine you burn meat for fuel for what carbon's in it, versus you sell meat for money, and then you're able to buy anything you need that like basically so it's like within that like the tool becomes the currency, if that makes any sense. Like rather than using the flesh to divine, they're using the flesh as a currency in order to commune with the divine, so that they don't need to be doing the divining themselves so much as it's being done by God. It's almost like the difference between someone it's the difference between it's the difference between someone using an automatic lockpick versus actually I don't know, I'm just coming up with bad examples now. Oh, actually no, here it's the difference.
It is possible that divination was not forbidden at the time that Leviticus was written, and they just removed some extra verses that described what they are doing with these inner organs.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see
This
that.
is possible, but we have no evidence for that.
All right. 𝐤�𐤒𤓄𝐻 oto, and so the 𐤅𤒒𤓄𝐻 oto b'nei Aharon, and so the sons of Aaron will burn as incense, or burn for smell, burn them for smell, upon the altar, at olah, or like upon as a or upon the olah, offering the whole ascension offering, that is upon the wood, that is upon the fire, as a isha fire offering, 𐤅𐤒𐤓𐀀 l'Adonai, most pleasing smell, or like a most appealing scent for Adonai. Now it's interesting.
Generally, the word ishe and the fragrant 𐤅𐤒𤓃 are coming with the action of burning the incense. So probably they are meaning that the burning 𝐤�𤒒𤓃 is just like you said, something with the incense and not just simple burning.
Yeah. So let's see, where are we at? But yeah, so this idea of 𝐤�𤒒𤓃, like a pleasant smell, that's part where why I chose the name part of the name for this episode. Geschmack, gush for God, or not gush, gust. Geschmack, gust for God, and so like Geschmack. Let me see if I can. Let's see. 1 second. Let's see if I can find them. Let's see. Let's see. Let me make sure this isn't. Okay, I think this should be. Yeah, We should be fine.
I want you all to repeat after me. Someone once came over to me. Again. Someone once came over to me and asked me what's it like to be a yid. Again. Someone once came over to me and asked me what's it like to be a yid. This is what I told him. This is what I told him. This is what I told him. It's Geschmack to be a yid. 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 Geschmack to be a yid. Geschmack to be a yid. This is what I told him. This is what I told him. This is what I told him. It's Geschmack to be a yid. Geschmack to be a yid. Geschmack to be a yid. Oh, it is Geschmack to be a yid. Thank you so much.
So unfortunately, that doesn't actually tell you what Geschmack means if you don't know. So, yeah, I thought that would explain it. I mean, you can see how they feel when they're singing about that, but let's see if I can find anything. And of course, I should not expect that I'd be able to find that. Let's see. Basically, the idea of Geschmack is something that's like just so like delicious, so like amazing that it's kind of like the thing. I don't know how to even describe it. It's like maybe like delectable, delightful, scrumptious. But basically, the idea that I'm using that Yiddish word to apply to this idea of erroneously. Now, let's take one moment. Where are y'all able to hear this, or is it a different one that I have to find? Let me know. Hello? Or is it? No, I think it's this one.
The garments of the kohanim is holy vessels.
Can you hear?
Can
you guys hear this?
Garments of the kohanim,
Yep.
Transform them into a special, unique vessel when performing avodat Hashem. And therefore, when the Kohen clothed himself in these garments, the Kohen did not appear as he was, right? As Aharon as Aaron, or Nadav as Nadav, etc. But as he should be, according to the dictates of God's Torah. In other words, the garments allowed him to be perceived in his true spiritual essence. Okay? Who he truly is, his etzem, his true essence. The garments, if you will, they brought to expression the character of the kahuna, or the priesthood. Now, what's interesting, I don't have it on the screen, but etymologically speaking, there is a connection in the Hebrew between clothing and character. There's a phonetic relationship between the Hebrew word beged and pakad. Pakad denotes investing in something when it's appropriate, with its appropriate attributes, something that contains a value that you're mindful of. The word beged, on the other hand, denotes not merely conveying, but clothing someone in a garment that gives him the appropriate appearance. So just as pakad denotes, if you will, not pakad like in fear, pakad, excuse me, okay, denotes investing into office, beged denotes the function of office. Now, when you think about this, the origins of clothing first appear in Parshat Bereshit, specifically when Hashem clothed Adam and Chava after their transgression. And it's in Genesis 3:21, in which it says that Hashem produced these clothing for them, katonet or, it's a garment of or, sounds like light, aleph vav resh, but it's ayin vav resh, skin, because whatever dimension Adam and Chava existed in was a reality outside of this reality we existed in. Their transgression caused them to materialize in a lower vibrational frequency, and therefore they were katonet or vayal b'shem. They were clothed in these garments of skin. And so clothing is itself a reminder of man's moral calling. It is the first and most conspicuous indication of man's outer appearance, of his character. And so terms such as beged, libush or lavage, and atah, these became expressions for a person's integration of certain characteristics or distinctive features, which to the eye of the beholder became that person's spiritual garment. In fact, such concepts are applied to Hashem throughout the Tanakh. What do I mean? Well, to better understand this, let's take a look at some verses. Psalm 93, verse 1, which we say on Friday, right before Shabbat, Adonai Malach, Giut Lavesh. Lavesh, these are words of clothing. Adonai Oz Hit Azar, Aftikon Tavel Baal Timot. He clothed himself with majesty. Hashem has clothed himself. He has girded himself with strength. Now, obviously, this is not literal, it's metaphors. We go on to Psalm 104, verse 1, in which we recite when we put on our talit in the morning. Baruch nashi et Adonai Adonai Elohai, gedalta me'ochod v'chadar levashta, ote or kalshamanot Shemai havliya. Bless Hashem, my soul, Hashem, my God, you are very great. You are clothed in glory and majesty, wrapped in a robe of light. You spread the heavens like a tent cloth. Also Isaiah 59, 17. Vayubash tzedakah. He clothes himself with tzedakah, righteousness, like armor, with a helmet of salvation. Yeshua b'rosho, on his head. Vayubash bigdei nakam. He clothes himself with garments of retribution. He wraps himself vayat in zeal, like it's a robe. And also Isaiah 61, verse 10. It says over here, for he has clothed me, ki he'll bishani bigdei yisha, with the garment of salvation, and has covered me with the robe, tzedakah ya'atani, the robe of righteousness. Psalm 139, verse 9. Kohanecha yobishu sedek. Your kohanim clothe themselves in righteousness. Corresponding to that, 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 41. Kohanecha Adonai Elokim. Your kohanim, Hashem. Okay, yobishu teshua are clothed in salvation. Also Psalm 132, verse 16. V'kohanecha albish yisha. I will clothe its kohanim with salvation. So we see these passages here, and a lot of them are directed to kohanim, being clothed with a certain if you will, a certain essence. And from these verses, we learn the priestly garments must express the character that the Kohen is to represent. It's a reflection of Hashem. They are dressed, they are donned in power, in spirit. So since the Torah identifies
Or are they
the priestly garments as
manifestations?
it reveals that a sacred vessel receives an article for the needs of the sanctuary. So too, the Kohen assumes the service of the sanctuary by donning
Or
the
avatars,
garments,
vessels.
the kahuna. Chazal explained that when performing the Kabbalat Hadam, the Kohen was required to execute the process with his right hand instead of his left hand. And we find this in Masechet Menachot 10a. It says over here, Amar Rabba Bar Chana says, that Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says, any place in the Torah which is stated that an action is performed with a finger or by the priesthood, meaning that one who uses his finger to perform the action or that a Kohen performs it, this teaches that it's performed with the right hand. Why the right hand? Well, in Jewish thought, the right hand represents the principle of unity, harmony, and also benevolence. And so in the Kabbalistic Lashon, language of Kabbalah, the Sphira Chesed of kindness is associated with the bestowing a generous goodness upon the world. And so the right hand represents the masculine energy of the Eluhut, what we call the Godhead. The right hand is also referred to, it's a reference to the Shulchan, okay, in the Hechel, which is associated with the north side, inside the temple, the altar, but inside the Hechel, the sanctuary where you had the menorah, the altar, golden incense, the Shulchan Lechapanim, the bread of the faces. And I explained this in previous teachings, I'll touch base on it in here as well, that these were not objects just randomly placed anywhere, okay? It's not like Hashem hired a home decorator to come in and to ask their opinion about what.
It was a microcosm. But on that note, let's right next to it here. Here, perfect. And if from the flock, and if the sacrifice is from the flock, lezevach shelamim, for the sacrifice of peace, for Adonai, zachar or nekeva, male or female, tamim, whole or like spotless, unblemished, yakribenu, you will bring them close. Im kasev, who, if it is a sheep, who makriv, that he brings at korbanot, brings as his offering, vehikriv, and he brings oto it lifnei Adonai, or he will bring it to before Adonai. V'samach et yado al rosh korbanot, and he will support or lean his hand upon the head of the sacrifice. v'shachat oto lifnei ohel, and he'll slaughter it or sacrifice it before the tent of meeting, the ohel hamoed. Vizarku b'nei Aharon, and the children of Aaron, or the priests, will sprinkle et damo, sprinkle its blood al hamizbeach saviv, all around the mizbeach, the altar. Vehikriv mizbeach shelamim ishel Adonai, and he's to bring an sacrifice of shelamim, of wholeness, or of a peace offering, ishel Adonai, a fire offering for the Lord. Chelvo ha'aliyah, it's fat. Ha'aliyah
Aliyah is not just the fat, but the best part of the fat.
Oh, it's here, the tail, or tail fat tail.
Yes.
Interesting. So like the rump.
The what?
The rump, like the behind.
Yes.
Interesting. Tamima, the perfect, or unblemished, like behind, the perfect butt. Tamima, leumat, juxtaposed, or like up until, maybe, or close. It says close to. Ha'etza, the bone, or the spine, yisirena, like close to the spine, you will remove it. Ve'ed ha'chelev, and the fat, ha'mechase, that covers, et ha'kerev, the innards, ve'ed kol ha'chelev asher al ha'kerev, and all the fat that is upon the kerev, the liver. Ve'ed shtei ha'klayot, and the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon, ve'hachelev asher aleihan asher al haksal, and the fat that is upon them, and that is upon hakesalim. I mean, I'm trying to think. So it's not. So what's interesting is, so with the kelayot, you have the two implied. So what is it that humans have near their like liver and their intestines? That is plural. Like I'm trying to think, because loins, flank, maybe. I really don't know for the life of me what it could be. Let's see. They really have. But let's see, Aramaic. How is this used? Lines. It's weird, because why would it have it in the plural form? And the fat is upon the. One moment. I'm gonna see if I can find. What organ is Kisalim? Let's see what it says. Is it let's see. See. Sorry, one second. Let's see, where is it? Go back. No, that's it's ridiculous. Kilayot. Kisalim apparently refers to the spleen, which is an organ located in the upper left part of the abdomen. What? But why would it be in the plural? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's referring to maybe it's just referring to like All right. Well, what does loin actually? Okay. What's that? What does loin actually mean? The term loin refers to the area of the body on either side of the spine between the ribs and the pelvis. So, ribs and the pelvis. In culinary terms, it refers to the lower part of the back of an animal, particularly where the meat is considered tender and flavorful, such as the loin of beef or pork. Interesting. So it's basically referring to anything in between its ribs and its pelvis. Interesting. So this is referring to the organs that are there. So and the fat that is upon the those organs as well, and the appendage, maybe appendix. Could it be? Or no, it would also be protrusion, and the overhang of the liver, kaved, yeah, of the liver. Wait, I must have karev. Sorry, I mistranslated. The other one was, I think at some point I mistakenly said karev was liver, but no, that's kaved. Kaved, and that is upon the fat that is upon the appendage, upon the kaved, upon the liver appendage, and upon the kidneys. You'll remove them, or he's to remove it. Vayikra.
Kerev may be a stomach.
Oh, well, no, because there's also beten.
Keva.
What?
Keva. This is the modern word.
But I mean, don't you have the word beten for stomach?
Belly is beten.
Belly and stomach is the same thing, is it not?
But I think that the name of the organ is also stomach.
Anyway, let's move on. So vehiktiru.
The name of where you ingest your food
Is what?
I mean this one.
Stomach.
That's me.
What?
Did you get me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on.
All right. All right. There's yeah, you remove that of it. Vehiktiru. And vehiktiru kohen, and the priest will offer or burn his incense hamizbecha, that sacrifice, lechem isha, the food sacrifice, the food sacrifice as a fire offering to Adonai. Ve'im ez korbanot, and if the sacrifice is a goat, vehikrivu lifnei Adonai, then he is to bring it before he is to sacrifice it before vehikrivu, he is to bring it before Adonai. ושמח את ידו על ראשו ושחט אותו לפני אוהל מועד וזרקו בני אהרון ואת דמו על מזבח סביב. And he'll rest his hand upon the head of upon its head, and he will sacrifice it before the tent of the meeting, and the children of Aaron will sprinkle its blood upon the altar all around. והקריב ממנו קורבנו אישה לאדוני את החלב המכסה את הקרב ואת כל החלב אשר על הקרב. And he'll bring from amongst it, he'll bring from it korbanot, will bring the sacrifice. He's to bring from it, and vehikriv mimeno korban. Okay, and he used to bring from amongst the sacrifice, fire sacrifice for Adonai, the fat that covers the carev, the liver. I mean carev. No, that covers the stomach. Sorry, or that covers the. Let's just say gut. Ve'et, or we'll just say innards. Ve'et kol hachalev, and all the fat that asher al hakarev, those upon the innards. Ve'et shtei hakelayot ve'et hachalev asher alehen asher al hakesalim et hayoteret al hakaved al hakelayot yisirena. And the two kidneys and the fat that is upon them, that is upon the let's just say the inner organs, and the appendage or the overhang of the liver that is upon the kidneys, you're to remove them. והקטירם הכהן המזבחה לחם אישה לריח ניחוח כל חלב לאדוני. And they will, and that the priests, they will burn the altar, lechem isha, the food offering, as a the food as a fire offering, l'reach nichoach, for a pleasant smell, or for savory geschmack, delish, amazing fragrance for Adonai. Kol chalev Adonai, all the fat for God. So just think, I mean, it's like, imagine the smell of butter, but it smells amazing and not gross at all, right? I don't know. It could definitely smell gross if you got some people accidentally mix up something. It's like, oh, I thought this was fat. No, it turns out that was actually pus, and you have some unhealthy cows. It's like, I think we might have gotten some of the cows that were left over from the plagues of Egypt, because this is not fat. I like to have fun here. Anyway, on that note, where are we at? Chukat. It was kol chalev ladonai. All the fat is ladonai for Adonai. So, is it saying all that fat, or is it saying all the fat? Because it's clearly not all the fat. Anyway, also, I wonder, they don't really address it, but the fat's also potentially used as a fire source, or like a fuel source. But chukat olam ledoratechem, it is an eternal decree for their generations. Bechol moshvotechem, in all their inhabitations or settlements. Kol chalev, all the fat, kol dam, and all the blood, lo tochelu, you are not to eat. So on one hand, it's a prohibition. On the other hand, it's a way of getting all the fat to the temple. Interesting. So it's like a currency. Any thoughts?
No.
I'm going to take a quick break because my throat needs a break, but I'm guessing meat, and then we'll continue.
I was going to throw in that this reflects some of the idea that I get out of the reading that the temple system was an early social safety net, where a lot of the sacrifices ended up being repurposed to the poor and such. Tag.
Interesting. I can definitely see elements of that, but I think it would be a mistake to say that it's really like anything novel. You see what I mean? It's something that's key, and every society has it. But some people are weird about saying like, "Oh, look, this was the first society to ever have this."
Right, and the idea that it had no practical purpose, and holding it separate and from the secular society rather than working in coordination with it, I think is more of a modern era retrojected back tag.
Definitely, I can see that. All right, let's see. So we read, what was it? So it was fourth, maybe fifth. So fifth goes until. Oh, you've got to be kidding! How long is fifth? Okay, so it's. All right, we can do that. It's 26. So we'll break that down to 13s. So continue with this. I'll be right back.
Where to put the menorah. It's not like Hashem needed the menorah, like he's going to get up for some challah in the middle of the night. No, these were all here for man, specifically for the individual who was experiencing the entire korban. When they were bringing their respective korban, they would have a very, very deep psychological lesson they would experience per se when seeing the whole korban done, because there was no verbal communication when this was being done. They were absorbing everything, by visualizing, seeing what was going on. The experience was overwhelming. And so the right hand, the temple inside the 𤅅𐤄, is associated with the north side. And the north side is associated with the material life, okay? And it's also associated with the shulchan lechapanim, the bread of places, that represents materialism, prosperity, things of that nature. Opposite of the shulchan is the menorah, that's the south side, that represents the left hand. It also represents spirituality, okay? So after the whole halakha, the walking procedure of kabbalat adam after receiving the blood, the next process was zerika. Zerika, some call it dashing, some call it throwing. I translate it as tossing, okay, whatever. I had to deal with tossing the blood on a certain part of the mizbeach, on the altar. And why I say a certain part of the altar, because different korbanot, the blood would be placed in different areas. So according to chatat, asham, etc. Okay, the blood was put on different areas, and I talked about this in previous teachings. And so this was the zerika process. This process contained a symbolic meaning. It was not just a random ritual that the kohanim used to do. In fact, we find in the Mishnah, the Masechah Zevachim 5:4, the sages address this issue in which they say over there, 𝐅𝐿𝐴, regarding the olah, the elevation offering, that it's codified, it's categorized as what's called the Kachei Kodashim, the Holy of Holies, as well as the shelamim and the chatat, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. It says here that it is shechitata batzafon. It's slaughtered in the north, meaning the north part of the altar, and the reception, the vikibud dama, the kabbalat, dam, the receiving of the blood, is performed in a kli shahot, a holy vessel, as we just talked about, in the north. So all this is done in the north, and its blood requires 2 applications, meaning when you put the blood on the altar, that are equivalent to 4. So in other words, it's multiplied here. And it requires skinning and dismemberment, and it goes on. So this is talking about after the blood is drained from the animal, and the blood is put on the altar. Obviously, you have to remove the choice organs of fat that would eventually be thrown on the fire on the top of the altar, and things of that nature. The Gemara comments on this. It says that each corner, let's talk about the mizbeach now, the Kohen makes one application in the form of the Greek letter gamma. What does that mean? We'll see that in a minute. Meaning that he throws the blood, tosses the blood, dashes the blood directly at that corner so that it spreads on impact to the walls on both sides of the corner. Now, once again, if a lot of people come to erroneous understanding of the korbanot system by just reading the Bible in English or Leviticus, not Hebrew, they're not even getting the bigger picture without the oral Torah, okay, the Torah Shabbat Pei. Because we see here the Mishnah and eventually the Gemara brings you in an entire world of how the avodah was performed. And we see this interesting statement in the Mishnah that when the Kohen would go and perform the zerika, the tossing of the blood, that he actually had to do it, if you will. The Gemara tells us, form. And we see this interesting statement in the Mishnah that when the Kohen would go and perform the zerika, the tossing of the blood, that he actually had to do it, if you will. The Gemara tells us in a shape that it was done like the letter gamma in Greek, which is also very strange. It's like, why are we dragging the Greek language here? What's going on? Which also shows you, that the Jews 2,000 years ago were very, very knowledgeable in the language of Greece as well, in the Greek language. So what does this all mean? Well, let's take a look at some images here, some illustrations, so we can better understand what Chazal is saying. The blood was thrown or tossed from a distance, okay? It reached all around like the letter gamma, which is here on the screen. This is gamma. Hopefully you see I should have put a white background. But if you know Hebrew, okay, the letter gamma here in Greek, it looks very much like an inverted chaf sofif. Like, and I didn't put that on the screen. A chaf sofif, which is a final sofif that of the letter chaf that's spelled at the end of a word. Okay, it has an ending form. Okay, so the letter gamma looks like an inverted chaf sofif, and so the Kohen basically he would go around in this form, right? This procedure, basically to make sure that the blood reached all around. And it resembled the letter gamma or inverted chaf sofif on all four sides of the altar. This is being done. And so this depiction here, it shows you at the bottom left-hand side, you have a Kohen, I think yesod, and that's important. I'll talk about this in a minute. You have the yesod where the blood is initially being poured at. Okay, then you have two other kohanim here. This shows you that there's point aleph, point bait. Okay, some blood will be put at the top part and near the horns, the korbanot of the altar, which is also called the 𐤅𤤉𤒄, the mountain of God, etc. You have the large ramp that you would go and bring the choice fats and organs to be thrown in the fire. You have in the middle the deshin or the heap of ash through the daily sacrifices, especially if it was Yom Tov. You even have more korbanot being done, things of that nature. So this is an illustration of that. Okay, and so eventually the blood was tossed against specific sides of the corners of the altar. And here's somewhat of a bird's eye view sketch, and this is actually scanned from my Gemara here on it. And so it's not in English, obviously, but you have the Rashi script next to it. So you have Mizbeach in the middle, right? Showing you it's in a square. You have Mizrach, which is at the top, but that's literally the east side, okay? So that's facing east. You have the south, which is to your right. You have the west, okay? And then you have Safon, the north, okay? So what we see here is that the Kohen would go and make sure that he would take the blood and sprinkle it, toss it, dash it, whatever term you want to use, against two diagonally opposite corners of the altar. And each one of those two tossings constituted what the Torah says is literally tossing all around. That's Leviticus 1:5. That's what it means. So when the blood was tossed or dashed against one of the corners, it would spread to both sides of the corner. And when this was repeated on the diagonally opposite corner, the blood via the two tossing, sprinkling, etc., would have reached the four sides of the altar. Okay. Now, what's important about this, and I'm going to go into detail here, I want you to notice it's written in Hebrew there. It talks about the yesod, the foundation. There was a foundation block, if I can use that term, that was on the west end and north end of the altar. And you'll see it. It's the outer part of the square of the altar. There's no yesod going on the east, and there's no yesod going on the south. That's very important because there was no blood applied there. The blood was applied diagonally to the altar's foundation on the west and also the north. There's a significance to this, okay? There's a significance because the blood was only tossed against the northeast and southwest corners. It was never tossed against the southeast and northwest corners. The reason why the blood was never tossed against the southeast and northwest is because those sides of the altar never had a yesod. They never had a foundation, a base, okay? And I'm going to go back here to this screen. You'll see here, that is the altar from the south facing north, or to the right would be the east, where essentially you see the Kohen tossing the choice fats and organs on the altar. The Kohen at the bottom with the actual blood doing the zerikah. That is actually the yesod. And there's actually a hole in there where the blood will be drained. There's a unique system of draining the blood, kind of like a tunnel, in which the blood will be gathered. And it's a whole other topic to talk about the engineering mechanics of the altar itself. Okay, because this is within the Beit HaMikdash, the Mishkan, if you will. It had a similar setup, slightly different to a degree. Okay, but that's for another topic. So nonetheless, this is where the blood will be applied. Initially, this had how it had to start. But there was no yesod going underneath the ramp, nor yesod on the east end there, the Mizrach. That's important, okay? And Chazal comment upon this in Masechet Yoma. They want to know the question, the answer. For what reason did the Kohen apply the tamid, which is the required offerings blood, specifically to the northeastern corner of the altar and then to the southwestern corner? Let him instead apply the blood to the southeastern corner and then the northwestern. Why?
All right. Let's continue. So we're going to do 13 at a time. Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, and Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, Daber el bnei Israel lemor, speak to the children of Israel, lemor nefesh ki ticheta bishgaga. Saying, saying nefesh, a soul or a person that sins, bishgaga, sins in error,
unwillingly.
Yeah, unwillingly or in error. Mikol mitzvot Adonai, from all the mitzvot commandments of Adonai, asher lo ta'asena, or from
Do you know what is lo ta'aseh, mitzvat lo ta'aseh?
Yeah, they will not.
Of
the-
don't do.
Yeah, those that do those that are not those that do not do.
The prohibitions.
Oh, you shall not.
If this person will do something that is prohibited,
Yeah.
then
Do
then
any should
he
not.
will need to bring some sacrifice as the following.
Yeah, then he will make me'achat mehena.
As the following, one of the following.
Yeah. Wait a second.
If this person is the
Yeah.
high priest,
Yeah.
or not the high priest, but any priest that was anointed with the holy oil.
דבר אל בני ישראל לאמור נפש כי תחטא בשגגה מכל מצוות אדוני אשר לא תעשנה ועשה מאחת מהנה עם הכהן המשיח עם הכהן המשיח יחטא להשמעת העם והקריב על חטאותו אשר חטא פר בן בקר תמים לאדוני לחטאתה. And if anointed priest, it says the high priest, or a priestly Messiah potentially is another way of rendering it, but I mean most literally anointed priest. Yecheta sins le'ashmat like to the guilt of the people. Vayikra, then he will bring al chatoto. He will bring upon his sin asher chatat that he sinned par ben bakar, a par like a bull, a bullock, the son of a cow, tamim pure, unblemished, unblemished, for Adonai lechatat, for as a sin offering. Interesting how it says decontamination offering. I like that better. It's like, oh, we're going to decontaminate from sin. It's like, washing off the bad karma or something. All right, let's see. All right. V'hevi et hapar et petach ohel moed, and he will bring the bull to the entrance of the tent of meeting. Lifnei Adonai v'samach et yado al rosh hapar v'shachat et hapar lifnei Adonai, and he'll support his hand upon the head of the bull, and he will slaughter the bull before Adonai. Velakach hakohen hamoshiach midam hapar ve'avi oto elo el moed, and the priest, the anointed priest, will take from the blood of the bull, and he will bring it to the tent of meeting. V'tavar hakohen et etzba'o, and he will dip the plunge, and the Kohen, the Kohen, dipped his finger, badam v'hiya, one second, I don't know if that was giving me a headache or if it was something else, but it might have been on too tight. Betzbo badam vehia dips his finger in blood, and vehiza, and it splurts or and it spurts or sprinkles, spatters from the blood, sheva palmin 7 times, lifnei Adonai, before Adonai, at pnei parachet, before Adonai, in the presence of the parachet, the veil hakodesh, parachet hakodesh. Interesting that here it has holy shrine, but anyway. V'natan hakohen min hadam al kahanot mizbeach ketoret hasamim lifnei Adonai asher be'ohel moed vet kol dam chapar yishpoch el yesod mizbach haolah asher b'tachohel. What was it? Is it? ונתן הכהן מן הדם על קרנות מזבח קטורת הסמים לפני אדוני אשר באוהל מועד, ואת כל דם הפר ישפוך אל יסוד מזבח העולה אשר פתח אוהל מועד. And the priest gave from his blood, or gave from the blood upon the korbanot, upon the horns, misbach ketoret, that were upon the horns, ketoret, the incense horns, ketoret hasamim, the holy, the incense or drug, incense. Lifnei Adonai, before Adonai, asher b'ohel moed, in the tent of meeting, at kol dam hapar, and all those that hapar that were in the tent, or hapar, sorry, what am I saying? All those that were all the blood that hapar, all the blood of the bull. Yishpoch was found there, like matching it. El Yisod, to the foundation, Mizbach HaOlah, foundation of the whole place. Sure.
I'm going off.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
thanks for today.
All right. Take care. It was good having you.
Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye. The hapar and the bull Yishpoch, that that spills out el yisod, upon the foundation, or the blood of the bull that spills out upon the foundation, mizbach haolah, is a like ascension sacrifice. Asher patach is at the entrance or door to the ohel moed, tent of meeting. That kol chalev par chatat yarim, and all the fat of the bull, chatat is a sin, yarim is a sin that has been lifted up, mimenu, from it, at hachalev, the fat, hamechaser, that covers, al hakerev, that covers the innards, at kol hachalev asher al hakerev, that surrounds it and that covers the liver, the innards. Ve'et shtei kilayot ve'et hachalev asher alehan, and the 2 kidneys and the fat that is in them, or around them, upon them, asher al hakisalim, about this is and the 2 kalea to stream, and the fat, or the dairy that was in or in two different coats. Sorry, I'm like and then two kidneys, and the remainder of the lobe is on the kavod, is on the liver. Upon the kidneys, remove them. Kasher as Yuram Mishor, as just as exalted from the bowl, is this Zavach Shlamim. Kasher Yuram Mishor Zavach Shlamim, as exalted from bowl, sacrificed for peace, and vehiktiram, and incense burnt, hakohen al mizbeach halah, the Kohen's burnt upon the ascension altar. Interesting. I wonder if the idea of the ascension altar once was more than just this idea of the stuff going up and not coming down. All right. That just as is set apart from the side of the ox of the sacrifice of shalom. Interesting. And the skin of the vet or hapar, and the skin of the bull, ve'et kol basro al rosha, and all the flesh that is upon the heads, ve'al kera'av ve'kirbo ve'upirsho, and upon kera'av, and upon my friend, not listing, health-wise, with Pisho, same reason I have a lot of health issues. Let's see where. Let's see. Where we at? And the flesh is upon shins, its innards, and its stomach, for its skin of it, and upon its head, and upon its kirav, upon its legs, and kirpal, and in its midst, upirsho, face, in its midst, where nerds and says, v'hotzi at kol, and v'hotzi at kol hapar, and when all the bulls left el michutz, to go outside, lem machane el makom, to the place that was comfortable, that was purely comfortable, el shefach, you have not left, or you have not poured out hadeshen, the fat ashes, or the abundance visharaf, and burnt it upon al itzim be'esh al shefach, burnt it upon trees in fire, upon shefach, upon morning sites, hadeshen yisharaf, the abundance is burnt up. I'm almost done. Ve'im kol adat Yisrael, and if the entire people or council of Israel yishku, approach, or stray, v'ne'elam, and conceal a thing, me'enai, from my eyes, ha-kahal, the council or the congregation, v'asu achat, and every and those, and one in them, mikol mitzvot from who do one from all the mitzvot yihi asher there for Adonai lo te'asena ve'ashemu. They will not be fashioned, or they will not be what's the word, handled. Ve'ashemu. And so in Kirgil this is all right. Almost, and I'll be right back. Let's see, where is it? Where is here?
They choose one set of opposing corners over the other. Well, they said the blood application of the korban olah always requires the altar's base, and the southeast corner of the altar did not have a base. So here's another depiction of the altar, this time facing the east side, and you'll see there I circled in red. It says the Yesod HaMizbeach. It's the foundation of the altar. It's sticking out, protruding out like a little nub. There's none of it is running along the east end. Okay, it's not there. Okay, it's only on the north, it's only on the west, it's not on the east, and it's not on the south, which would run directly underneath the ramp of the altar. Okay, why is that? Well, because they didn't have one, but there has to be a reason why, and there's a profound meaning to that. Okay, there was a foundation base that was 1 amma wide and 1 amma high around the altar. This base, or yesod, as it's called in Hebrew, did not surround the altar on all sides. Rather, it extended out along the northern and western walls and looped around just 1 amma on its eastern side. So that's that little nub that you see here circled in red. This is a bird's eye view of it here. You'll see the nub sticks out on each of the west end and the north end. Okay, so the west end protrudes a little bit on the south portion, and then the north end protrudes on the east portion. So nonetheless, the south and the east had no yesod. Over Masachet Zevachim, Chazal taught via what's called a 𝐅𝐷𝐼, which is a comparison. If something's true in this matter, then it's true in that matter. It's from light to heaviness. It's a concept of Jewish hermeneutics. Chazal taught via 𝐅𝐷𝐼 that the tossing of an olah's blood had to be performed on a part of the altar surrounded by a yesod, a foundation. The southeastern corner was excluded, and so by process of elimination, the only opposing corners that qualified the korban olah were the northeastern and southwestern corners. When the Torah introduced the concept of the altar, this is important. When you absorb your mind into what all this means without a physical temple, korbanot, etc., you have to go back to when the topic of the altar is first mentioned, and that's in Parsha 𐤅𤐿𝐻. When the Torah first introduced the concept of the altar in Parsha 𐤅𝐿𝐻, it identified the altar as Mizbeach Adama, an altar of the earth. And we go back here to Exodus 21. Mizbeach Adama ta'aseli. Hashem says, an altar of earth shall you produce for me. Okay? V'zavachta alav et olatecha, and you shall slaughter. It says near it, and that's deliberately put into the translation versus on it, because you never literally slaughtered anything on the altar. Okay, it says you shall be your elevation, olatecha ve'et shelamecha, your peace offerings. Okay, et sonecha of your flock, et becharecha of also your herd, your cattle. It says b'chol hamachol masher aschir, wherever I permit my name to be remembered, et shemi avo elecha, and therefore I shall come and I shall bless you there. Now, the expression here, Mizbeach Adama, means that the altar was a symbol of the earth's elevation to Hashem through the actions of man. This is so important, okay? The Torah did not say here, Mizbeach Shemayim Ta'aseli, you shall make a heavenly altar, or Mizbeach Ruchaniyot Ta'aseli, a spiritual altar. No, the Torah says Mizbeach Adama Ta'aseli, an earthly altar. Here the Torah is teaching us that it is not our task to bring down what is heaven to earth, because just opposed to this in verse 20, the Torah warned, Lo ta'asun iti Elohei kesef ve'Elohei zahav, lo ta'asu lachem. Do not produce with me a god of silver, a god of gold. Okay, do not produce any of those things, because Hashem is an incorporeal entity, and you don't know what the infinite essence of the Creator looks like. So don't even try to imagine it. Okay, and not only that, we don't go trying to create things that are in the upper dimensions, which we don't fully comprehend. Rather, we're required to elevate everything on earth to heaven. Mizbeach Adama ta'aseli, to elevate it. The altar that the Torah commands us to build represents elevating earthly matters to God through our actions. Chazal commented upon this in Masachet Zevachim 58a. Why does the Torah say that the altar must be an altar of earth? This is to teach us that the altar must be attached to the earth, and that one is prohibited from building it on top of any cavities or arches. It can't be like a private altar per se. So according to Chazal, if a small gap between the bottom of the altar and the earth was there, that altar is pasul, it's unfit, it's invalid, because it's not considered fully attached to the earth. Likewise, Hashem created man from what? The earth. Back in Genesis 2:2. I don't have it on the screen, but Vayikra Adonai Elokim es Adam afar min ha'adama. Okay? Therefore, man must approach God from his earthly nature, from this physical reality, not some type of quasi-spiritual ideology that corresponds to some type of religious belief. That's not what the Torah commands. In relation to the altar, Hashem once again said there in a passage in Leviticus Exodus 20:21, "V'zavachta alav," you should slaughter upon it. But I translated in English, you should slaughter near it. Okay, shechita korban. reveals that man must be committed to elevating his earthly nature. However, if the altar happens to have a defect at the time of shechita, then the entire korban is invalid. It's no longer fit. Chazal said in Masechet Zevachim, okay, if the altar became damaged, all of the holy offerings that were slaughtered there, meaning the courtyard on the north side, were pesulim. They're no longer qualified. They're disqualified. In Masechet Chulin, Chazal explained that the altar becomes invalid if there is a small notch in one of the stones or a hole in the line between the stones. Once the altar becomes invalid, the animals that were slaughtered, they also become disqualified. Now, the altar in Hebrew is called mizbeach. And I've told you before that most of the Bible translations of the word korban call it sacrifice, which is not accurate. Mizbeach is from the root word zavach, and zavach literally means to slaughter. While the Torah says v'zavachta alav there in Exodus 20:21, you shall slaughter upon it. I translate you shall slaughter near it. And that's the reason why is because no animal was ever slaughtered directly on the mizbeach. And depending on the type of the korban that was being offered, would determine which side of the mizbeach the animals were slaughtered at, or where the blood would be applied. Zavach denotes slaughtering to provide nourishment, okay? Not slaughtering in the sense of killing. That's important. And so when we understand this and understand that no korban was actually slaughtered on the mizbeach, we come to learn that the mizbeach served as a spiritual source of nourishment. When we come before Hashem, we are required to elevate matters of the earth, okay? Earthly matters. Through our physical.
All right, let's continue. Oh, so here. Let's see, where is it here? All right, we'll just do one at a time. Venoda chatat asher chatu alea vayikra. What's that? Let's say I might send a link to this. Let's see. One moment, where is it? Here. It's not showing up. One moment. Here. All right. Cool. Might have someone check it out in a second, but yeah, if 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐿 checks out, it's cool. But והשבוע, all right. ונודעה החטאת אשר חטאו עליה והקריבו הקהל פר בן בקר לחטאת והביאו אותו לפני אוהל מועד. And when it is known that the sin that has been sinned, or literally the error that has been erred, when the error has been erred is known, alea upon it, you shall bring the kahal, the assembly shall bring the bull, ben bakar, the son of the cattle, or son of the cow, lechatat, for a sin offering, veheviu oto, and they will bring it, they will bring it lifnei ohel moed, before the tent of meeting, or the tent of appointed tent. V'samchu ziknei ha'edah, and the elders of the community will support their hands, yadehem, their hands, al rosh hapar, upon the head of the bull, lifnei Adonai, before Adonai. Which again, I think that this is originally was something else, and then God just covered over with this. Though, given what I found in that one psalm, I think that it was originally to Adon, or Baal Adon, and that's why. And I forget which prophet it says, but no longer will you call me Baali, my Baal, or my master, my husband. You'll call me Adoni. And it's like, okay, but Baal and Adon were like interchangeable, so it's interesting. But lifnei Adonai, before Adonai, v'shachat, and they'll slaughter or sacrifice et hapar, the bull, lifnei Adonai, before Adonai. V'hevi hakohen hamashiach, and the anointed priest will bring midam hapar, from the blood of the bull, el ohel moed, to the tent of meeting. V'taval, and it will prepare dip. V'taval hakohen its bow, and the kohen will dip his finger min hadam, into the, or from the blood, or into the blood. V'hiza, and will shake it, splatter it. Sheva pa'amim, 7 times. Lifnei Adonai, before Adonai. Et pnei haparochet, in the presence of the prochet, or before the presence of Yahweh, says, but in front of the curtain. Interesting. Yeah, the curtain. Umin hadam, and from the blood, yiten al karanot, and from the blood will yield upon the horns. Hamizbeach, was it official class? No, mizbeach. What am I looking for? The horns. Credit. I don't know. Umin hadam. And from the blood, he was given upon, or by the horns, hamizbeach, of the altar, asher lifnei, that are before Adonai, or for the presence of Adonai, asher be'ohel, that are in the tent of the meeting mud, v'et kol hadam, and all the blood, yishpoch, and all the blood that spilled El Yesod, on the foundation, Mizbach Ha'olah, a war, or a battle, the battle over the sacrifice on the ascension sacrifice. Asher Petacho Helmod, that was at the entrance of the tent of meeting. That thing I said was a reference to Cain and Abel. That Kol Chelvo, and all its fat, Yarim Mimenu, you'll raise up, or set it apart from amongst you, Vayikra Hamizbecha, and set aside, or set on fire your idea or your dream of the temple, but or of the altar. But it's not talking about forever, just for now at least. At least that's how I look at it. Lavar. And again, it's one of those things where I think the third temple would be very different than what most people imagine it. But anyway, lapar, and you'll make for the bull kasher as lapar chatat, as for the bull that that's for a bull of sins. Ken yaselo, thus you shall do for it, v'chiper alehem, and atone, or attempt to purge, or what's the word? Corrupt, not corrupt. To make it come. Alehem, upon them. Hakohen v'nislach, the Kohen, and the Kohen forgave them. Wait. V'hotzi et hapar, and they left the bull el michutz, from to outside, la machane v'sharaf, for the encampment, v'sharaf, and burnt oto it kasher sharaf, as it was burned, at hapar, the bull, harishon, the first bull, chatat, of the sin, Kahal, who it was the first. I'm just going to say he is to take the bull outside the camp, and he is to burn it, just as one burned the first bull. It is a chatat offering for the whole assembly. Asher nasi yicheta, those that lift up, or no, when a prince or when a leader, of a tribe sins and does one from all the mitzvahs of Adonai Elohav, his God, as he's not to do, does what he's not supposed to do, bishgaga, in error and shame. I guess it says instead we incurs guilt. I don't know. Oh, and so he is ashamed. Or hoda elav, or does he know chatat asher chatat, or does he know that that sin is as sin does, basically chatato asher chatat, that sinners are going to sin, basically. It doesn't specify well, but ba vehiv vehevi. In that it brings at korbanot, brings the horns. It brings the sacrifices, seir, satyrs, izim, goats, zachar, tamim, pure, or like whole unblemished males. V'samach yado al rosh ha-seir v'shachat oto b'makom asher yishchat et ha'alo lifnei Adonai chatatu, and supported his hand upon the head of the seir, of the satyr, and he slaughtered it in the place that Ishchat el Hala, that that sacrificed the kill, Lifnei Adonai, that Asher Ishchat, that the place where the offering up is slaughtered. Ishchat, where the slaughterer, where the ascension giver is slaughtered, before Adonai chatatu is a sin, or is a sin offering. V'lakach ha-kohen, and the kohen takes, or will take midam chatat, from the sin of the, from the blood of the sin offering, b'etzbaot, from in his sin, in his finger, and he gives all korbanot, gives upon the horns of the mizbeach, of the altar, olah ve'etamo, going up, and the blood, in the offering up, in the blood, yishpoch, what is too much blood to pour out, el yesod, on the foundation, mizbach haolah, of the ascension altar that he's wearing. I don't know. I'm too tired finishing this up. Alright, so 26. Where's this go to? Oh shit, what is that? Alright. Let's see, we have goes until 26. Alright, perfect. I don't know why I thought it. Okay, 26, yeah. Wait, so what's 27? We're on 4, 27. There shouldn't be 27. Oh, never mind. That's why. Right. And all its fat, yaktir, will be burned, mizbecha, upon the altar, kechalav zavach, as the fat of the sacrifice, shelamim, of peace, will, and good for, I don't know, the peace sacrifice, v'chiper, and covered over upon her, upon hakohen mechatato, upon the kohen mechatato. Oh, from sin offering, Larry sin offering, v'nislach, and he shall be, he shall be forgiven or pardoned. Interesting. I don't know exactly where it's going with that, but anyway, here we're going to finish this up now. Baruch אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם, נטע בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Any last notes before we close out?
No, it just sounds like they're kind of setting up a butcher shop on, laying out everything for sale on top of the altar.
Yeah, I already used the whole McTabernacles joke, so felt a bit bad to use it again.
Well, I used it for you, so it's all good.
So, what do you think is the tastiest part?
Well, which animal are we talking about?
I don't know. Opinion? What sounds the best to you?
I was going to say, I'm a big fan of, if you're going with beef, a good fillet is always nice.
Also, you think there anything about like a deeper esoteric level to this that you're getting?
No, not really.
I just think it's interesting how the word for fat is also the word for choice.
No, that is interesting.
Let's see, is there anything else? Anyway, on that note, we will close out. I will see you all next time.
Want to tell the Rebbe the words of the new song that we're singing with Mashiach, right? So I'm just going to read him. Am Yisrael, have no fear. Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Okay? Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, oh yeah, Am Yisrael, have no fear, Mashiach will be this year. Am Yisrael, have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. We want Mashiach now.